Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub?
News networks are not even getting clicks like that. So this shows like there's an opportunity for this, what we're doing here on this show.
Look up something in back check, kind of like cross reference.
Yeah, I should put the.
Hey, look that shit up. That's the name of your show.
Yeah,
that's right. What really drew me in.
Remember, we want you to be an activist, and don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley. And hope I don't get in trouble for playing that last video. I probably shouldn't have played that shit. I'm always testing the damn waters, bro. That shit gonna get me.
You are now so deep.
Good evening, my little one. I shall make you psychotic.
Mommy, what does psychotic mean?
Back and forth, and you know I'm swinging bows. I'm about to change course, go home and changing clothes. I'm looking at this bitch, it seems like she's saying no. I'ma hit the streets, though I'm supposed to be laying low. I'm following the buzz, never know which way it go. Keep on bringing heat, cause the G.O.D. say it so. Sailing on the beat, so you can't chop and play it so. She got me for a piece, now I'm about to pay the hoe. Stop smoking, switch the sweets, where I gotta take a toke. Now I got a little guac, now I gotta make it grow. Keep on thinking we some hee-haw, mom, pop folks. We gon' hit you in your teeth, we keep a buzzsaw closed. I've been on it 5 days, so I'm sitting sideways. Now get out of my way, or I'ma hit your day. Take a lick on my dick if you don't like what I say. I'm the shit with the shit, so we gon' do this my way. And we just getting started, so go on, say your grace. I'ma eat you rappers, though I won't enjoy the taste. I'm closing your estates while you falling on the stakes. I'm rolling on the bass while you rolling on the face. Sitting on the place, not knowing I'ma take your fast, slowing and it's fake. So I'm gonna wait. Time will come, down will be done. I saw it and I said that it was great.
Mommy, what does psychotic
I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'm digging your wife, she playing my mic. She really so nice, I call her my light. I say we off flight, cause we stay up all night. Bet you ain't know she to take it all tight. Tell her, bend it over, let me take a small bite. Been waiting since October, see that ass fall right. Looking around the room, see past 4 eyes. And adrenaline feeling like a NASCAR ride. When the people ask about this, your ass gon' lie. Cause the truth is you did what you do in your life. Can't nobody tell you what to do with your life. Girl, gon' turn it over cause I know what you like. It's hard in the color of the asphalt, right? Just lay back and wonder what the past was like. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I ain't feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Let me tell you a little something about life. Win, lose or I'm still taking your life. I mean, if you ever wanna fucking come in my sight, you scream like you never screamed in your life. Flip it on over, gon' do it like this. Not riding with a soldier, then you ride against it. Looking from the other side, make your stomach get sick. Every person scheming, thinking he the one to get rich. Ever sit and really think what you would do with one wish? And if you knew afterward, you'd be sleeping with fish. Style will be done, here we come. Bern gets these images, make you wanna grab your crucifix. It's getting dark outside, no sleeping past 6. Not living in fear, cause that's really not it. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'ma get inside, I'ma get inside. I'm feeling my life, I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Sliding on in, this is it, instant win. If hip hop broke, put on some, fix it then. Take real life shit, go ahead and mix it in. Not just streets unless that's where you sleeping in. They hungry out there, that's why we eating in. Honestly, don't even let the church deacon in. Blasphemous if you think I'm speaking sin. Survival is a must for all the creatures in. If you feeling life's tough, then you probably need a fin. Have a sucker, popsicle or something, take it in. Sharp teeth, eat meat, origin involvement. Why the UFC give you more than a grin? Why you take a seat when the foraging begin? Why you gotta creep just horn in the wind? I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. You sending black, and when the bottom of the ninth and it's smack, you police the cat's wax send them back. Waxing them.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, we want you to be an activist. Don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Stick it in your crack, because I like to spit facts. That sounded good. No homo.
All right.
I like
black.
I'm trying to think of another punchline. I ain't gonna lie. What's up, Pat?
Not much, man. Big chilling.
Big chilling. Yeah, man, I'm in a good mood too, man. It's all good. It's all good. I'm off tomorrow. I've been making money.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I'm on grind mode this summer.
Yeah, I haven't actually made any money. I've been spending some, but
Yeah, I know how that feels.
but I'm in position to make some money. I'm almost got the next goal cleared.
That's good, man. Goals are good. Yeah, I got to make some major changes in my life coming very soon. Beginning of the year, I have some plans that I plan to put into motion. Really
Okay.
already kind of started, but it's for the beginning of the year.
I've been saying, if that's the case, you're trying to get something going for the beginning of the year. It's time to start now.
Yeah, I've already started.
At least you're playing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so February, certain things I need to happen. So yeah, and I'm really focused on it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what it is, man. You know, and it's like, I don't know, man. Talking to y'all on the show over time has kind of evolved some of my philosophies, if you will. You know, I like to feel like we do mental exercises on this show. Like that's pretty much what we do, you know.
and it's hopefully with the you know impact people's perspective, including mine. And
I,
so, like, what you were gonna say? Go ahead.
I would say same here. I mean, I mean, it is really hard to move me off of my square, but I mean, when something makes sense, that's the thing that's hard for me to avoid. Like, I mean, once it adds up, like when the calculations really come through, like I can't avoid it. Like I have to go with what makes sense, what adds up. You know what I'm saying?
And it might be the religious side of me because somewhere I don't know if it was the Quran or the Bible, but it's like you turn once you know the truth, you turn away from it. It's damn it, I can't think of how it goes, but basically once you see the light and it's more of a sin to sin when you know it's a sin. Like I don't know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
No, you're saying it. I mean, because I mean that's really how it is. I mean, because it's not even religious. I mean, because I mean the Bible is not really wasn't meant to be religious. It's a book to help you through life. Give you some help through some of those moments where you're not sure. But I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, you know, what you're saying is 100%. Like it's I don't know. I don't know. I guess I've started getting distracted by the noise in the background.
Yeah, that's my kids.
Yeah, but no. I mean, when yeah, it is a more of a sin. I think it is. I mean, because I mean, if you don't know, I mean, it's gonna really, like it's, that's ignorant. Like I mean, God protects the ignorant and the retarded, but though,
Yeah, so
but when
so
you do know,
when you do know and then you go against it, I feel like your punishment is going to be severe.
greater, it's
And I
it's
just
greater.
I just feel like that. And I don't feel like that from the government or for whatever. I feel like the universe, God, I really do believe in God. I think a lot of people don't really believe in God. I really believe in God. So I feel like if you know what's true and real and you turn away from that, your punishment is severe.
Yeah, but I mean, I believe in God. I don't think that. I mean, because I mean, before there was a religion, there was God. So I mean, that's things that's created by us that we follow, and if that's what helps you, great, do that. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, religion needs God. God doesn't need religion.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and I wish everybody understood those words that you just said, because you don't really need religion.
Yeah,
Um, but you mentioned another thing. You said retarded, and it's like I just had a conversation with somebody about that word. It kind of got me going because, like, our society and like treating people stupid, and like how I feel like what people would call retarded is a lot of times these people are actually ahead of average people. Okay, I really, truthfully, 100% to the bottom of my soul believe that. And okay, so let me give you an example. A person that's we would call retarded or slow or mentally challenged or whatever.
yeah.
They tend to be honest, bro. They tend to tell the truth. They tend to like relay messages honestly. Like
Their heart is more pure.
if people like them, the
I
people that they
don't.
call, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't look down on people like that. I mean,
Yeah,
like I have. I mean, I have a brother that would probably be considered that. I mean, and I just use that as a term to, you know, put some, your mind into, just so you know where I'm at. Well,
yeah. With this
but
language that
that
we
but
have to use, yes.
yeah, but I mean, shoot, my brother would be considered that, but shit, I tell you what, I doubt that, like I know he's smarter than a lot of people who's supposed to have good sense. He's like he does what he what he needs for him. And like I said, he's got a pure heart. He's a good dude, this, that, and the other, and he is protected by God. I mean, I can't say it's just for his situation, but just I think because of his purity.
Yeah. So, and then we all should learn how to be more like that, right? I mean, like I was saying, what I was gonna say was like they like to treat them like some kind of others, but they spend most of their mental capacity just trying to figure out how to deal with us or regular people or whatever. Because we lie, we cheat, we say one thing and we do another. I have the same problem with people. Like I really don't
Well,
get them because they say one thing and they do something else. Like they're deceptive, they're lying, like I don't know where you're coming from. Like I don't know how to deal with you. You get what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, I think everybody has the capability for that. It just really kind of boils down to, what's necessary for them at the time. Because I mean, I lie. Know liars. I mean, people. I mean, there's people who, shoot, that's a sport for them. Like that's, like when like it would be easier to tell the truth, but they'll still just lie because that's just who they are. But I mean, I think there's always, sometimes a good reason. And I don't know. I was watching something the other night that it says that when has the truth ever helped anybody? I forget what movie that was, but it just killed me because, some people really can't handle the truth. So I mean, it's really different sides to it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I only use
That's
lies to
not.
protect
I know
people's
that's not where
feelings.
you were going. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that's not necessarily where you was going, but I guess that when you bring that up, that's what kind of hits me
I
is.
can't help but to I mean, like you right, as far as well, I wouldn't agree with when does lies help anyone, but I mean when does the truth help anyone? I wouldn't agree with that phrase, but especially in the society that we live in, sometimes you literally have to lie. You know what I'm saying? Like you you, you will be punished for telling the truth, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah, like in being honest at all costs really could screw you. So I mean, I think it really is even protecting yourself, but even protecting others, because like I said, some people can't handle the truth, and oh damn,
Well, the only time I lie is to protect people's feelings, and I do that on purpose because I don't like it. You know what I mean? I don't like the lies. I don't like the confusion. I don't like the deception. You know,
yeah.
I
Oh,
I think that a lot of times in relationships, people aren't even honest with each other. You know what they say? They say your friend lies to you more than other people. Like your friend
oh,
lies to you the most.
um,
It's true. It's because they're trying to protect your feelings. Like if it's a subject that comes up that they disagree with you on, they may not tell you that they disagree with you on it. They might act like they do just because they don't want problems.
well,
You
and
know?
I guess I mean what level of friend that is, because I mean, to me, I look at that more of an associate, because I mean, like my friend, like my who the people person the people that I call my friend, I mean, they probably would avoid even having that conversation if they have to lie to me. Like they'd rather not have the conversation, because the honesty is what really makes
And
us.
and that's how I would go. And I agree with you. I feel like I want people around me tell me the harsh, bitter, painful ass fucking truth because that's what the fuck I need to hear. Just like the
Hmm.
rest of us.
Yeah. So I mean, if you guys, I mean, I'm sure we have people that we call our friends that if they're really lying to us, because either they don't know you well enough to say that you can, or maybe they know you that well, but at the same time to accept that type of fault in you that you can't accept the truth. I mean, how much of a friend really, you know, are y'all to each other?
Yeah, I want you to be 100% honest with me, and if I'm in a relationship with you, honesty is like has like that. If that's not there, we don't have a relationship, and that's what I
Yeah.
be talking about communication. Because the other thing is true communication. So to have true communication, you got to be honest with each other. Because if you're not being honest, you're not really communicating. Giving and
Mm-mm.
receiving messages means giving truthful messages. If you're not being honest the whole time, then your partner is not don't know what you want or what you're saying or where you at.
Well, and they feel like they're in love, that especially in a partnership type of thing. Like, the love is based on something, other than truth. So I mean, but like really like at the root of it, I'm more like of course I have feelings. So, maybe in the moment you might not, the way, just, cold hard truth might not be the way. There's always ways to, I think there's different ways that you can express a point without, you know, ruin a person's, just like totally. I mean, because sometimes that is necessary, but it's not always necessary. So I mean, in the case that it's necessary, yeah, do what you got to do. But if there's another way that you can express that feeling, yeah, do that. Because I mean, like I said, I mean, you when you care about somebody, you love them, find a way that you think will be palatable for them. And once you realize they get to that point, then you can be like, man, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? You can go harder, and once they kind of, start to see where you're coming from. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me.
Yeah.
I want to play this Lindsey Graham clip because I'm gonna get into some Lindsey Graham and Bernie Sanders later. But this popped up.
Consume the debt. We're down to a small fraction of the federal pie to run the discretionary part of government. So entitlement reform is a must for us to not become Greece. So entitlements are going to consume the budget. Right now, we're at 2050, we're going to have 185% of debt to GDP. Medicare and Social Security and other entitlement programs are worth saving, are going to consume the debt. We're down to a small fraction of the federal pie to run the discretionary part of government. So entitlement reform is a must for us to not become Greece. So entitlements are going to consume.
So that clip, whatever he was saying, but on the caption it says Lindsey Graham confirms GOP wants to gut Social Security and Medicare. Now he didn't say that, but I can see where they can get that from what he was saying.
I don't
But
think that. I mean, it didn't sound like that's what he was saying to me. But I mean, I don't like the way he uses entitlements. I mean, even though we are entitled because it was our money that they were robbing from, even if it wasn't him personally, but the government itself, you know, they they were taking money from the fund that they were supposedly growing for the people who's been, putting money toward it. So
right. So
like, I
where
mean, that's yeah, I
whatever
mean,
happened to
those.
the money, that's not really an entitlement because you paid that money into the system. They're giving you back
Well,
your
well,
money you paid in.
well, I mean, he makes it sound like he makes it sound like a bad word, but those people are entitled to that money because they put something toward, like, I mean, they put good faith toward the government that they would do the right thing with their monies that they were taking from their pay checks. So, I mean, they are entitled, you know what I'm saying? But they try to make it sound like it's a bad word by, these entitlements and like, yes, like,
Because he did mention, he said entitlements, and then he said Social Security and Medicare. So that's the reason why they're saying Lindsey Graham confirms GOP wants to gut Social Security and Medicare. But you can't say that because that's political suicide. Go at you can't go after Social Security. You can't go after Medicare, bro. It's old people, bro. Like, can somebody have health care in this damn country? Can we get old and have some damn health care? Fuck.
well, and that's the thing. I mean, because if they were treating the people, if they were treating the people the same way they treat themselves, we wouldn't have a problem because they make sure that they have the best of the best. Like, I mean, there's no argument ever with them on how to. Oh, damn.
The comment says my heart would literally explode out my chest.
I had like when I saw that, it's like, ooh, dun dun
Somebody's
dun.
in trouble.
But like to me, all right, they make it sound like such bad word that in like these people are entitled, but I mean honestly when you break it down, yes, they like, I mean that's just like I invest money. I I feel entitled to growth with because like I'm putting something in, I'm trying to buy money for the future. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm putting money into your hands right now because I'm trying to buy money for the future. So with that investment, I expect that everything that I've been giving, things that I, gave up from purchasing today that I could have, so that I could be able to, putting money in your hands, and what I'm saying? Like those people are entitled, and you shouldn't be trying to take something away from somebody that they have, because it's not their money that they're discussing; it's somebody else's money that they've, effed off. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
So
however,
it's not. I don't like. I mean, you're right. The definition of entitlement is proper, but in our society, when they use entitlement, it has a connotation of derogatory.
yeah.
So, but that's why I don't like it. Like you said, I don't like the way he used entitlement. Let me play this right here. I'm curious. What is this? It says how black people would really act in a scary movie. So the guy drove away. Let me see. So he heard some random noise or whatever. He just walks right back up out of here
Hell
and
yeah.
drives away. I ain't gonna lie, that would be my reaction. I'd be like, obviously they don't they don't want any company or whatever. Like they're not happy to see me. I'm not welcome here. I don't want to be anywhere that I'm not welcome. So if I feel that I'm not welcome, I'm leaving.
Now I'm interested to hear what his point of view on this.
Let's hear it.
I'm really surprised that you said that, because after all you've been teaching and talking about, for you to be up there saying that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, brother, come on, can you explain that to me? I said, well, there's a challenge with both of y'all. And I pointed to the sister that asked me the question about Jesus Christ, the Lord and Savior. And I said, there's one thing that neither of you asked me. You asked me a question. You both asked me the question from your perspective, but you never asked me what was my perspective when I answered that question. And I said, sister, you asked me if Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And I told you yes. And brother, you questioning why I would believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord, because neither of you came to realize, had you just asked me one other question, you would have understood exactly what I meant. I am Jesus Christ.
Ooh.
I am my Savior. If I am to be saved, it is up to me to do that. The story of the Osarian drama tells us that each and every one of us are both our parents and our child. We are the pyramid. We are our Savior. We are the emancipatory force within us that's going to liberate our souls when our spirit leaves our body. So Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior because I am Jesus Christ, according to the Osarian drama, because Jesus Christ is Heru, the resurrected one that came forward from his parents to bring the civilization to its high. In fact, I did a presentation one time and I was talking, and there was the sister who was very much into her religion. And she said, I just want to know one thing. Is Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior? And I said, yes. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. It was a little.
I think I really like the way he's explaining this, because I think it's a lot of confusion when people talk. Like this, when people say I believe in God, that's one of the ones that I'll be like, okay, but I don't know what you really mean by that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. So what are you talking about? You know?
Because on the surface, when you hear that, I mean, it's been like so many things that was purposely trying, like propagated for us to how to see it. So when like on the surface, because I mean, I know I've heard him speak so many times that I knew it was going to be interesting however he brings it, because I've like I said, I've heard him speak many years. So, but yeah, I agree with him wholeheartedly, because I mean,
Me too.
yeah, it's like when you look at it, just like this is just only one person. Like it's like you have to look outside of the box. You can't keep looking at it like in a way that limits you, because we all are, or at least supposed to be that in our own lives.
I think the scripture says that. I don't know why people get confused.
Well, not everybody studies. Some people read.
Right. and then their brain ain't computing.
Yeah,
They
some
need somebody
people,
else to.
some people are saying words in their head, like they hear the words, or they, they see the words and they're reading it. But as far as okay, dissecting what each one of those words together are meaning. So that's why. And I mean, I know people who Bible study all the time, but because they have a limited angle of looking at it, because they're afraid of being what is that the term, like blasphemy.
Yeah,
The fear of blasphemy is what limits people from really getting to the meat,
I
getting
agree.
the beat. Yeah, so.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's like every single thing that is like gonna take you down a direction of light that's gonna help you understand the world better is blasphemous.
There's
It's
no
like
return. You go there, there's no return. Like you're over.
I'm speaking blasphemy right now.
What's up,
Yep.
my brother?
yeah,
What's
what's
up,
up?
man? I'm ratting y'all out. Y'all talking like that. Look here, I'm gonna get these old Christians down here to put some knots on y'all head. Goddamn.
But the Christians believe the same thing. They just don't. They're not like we was just saying. They're not computing it. You know what I mean? Like freaking, it literally says this. I
I
want to
don't
say
believe that they believe the same thing, Chaka. That I would have to fight you on, because if they believe the same thing, we wouldn't pray for the same thing over and over again.
well
If you
they
truly, if you truly believe that you are Christ, your Savior, you wouldn't say the same thing. Lord, give me the strength as I walk out
exactly.
my door. Lord, bless me. Hey,
Lord,
man,
take Jesus, take the wheel,
every
and all
day,
that. Won't he
every
do it?
day,
All that
yeah,
bullshit.
every
Won't he
day that
do it?
you wake up, every day that you wake up, right, and you are able to turn your body from a laying position and sit up and get up and stretch, that's a day that God has given you the will to do whatever it is that you want to
Need to
do.
do. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
You
agree.
know,
But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying, I'm not. Yes. A lot of the people don't get it, but it's there in the scripture, and it's really what they believe, but they just don't get it. They don't. They're not. They're missing it.
you know what, man? I'm gonna say this here, bro. I'm gonna be a little vulnerable and be a little honest. When I was growing up and I believed that, when I was growing up and I believed the way that I was taught, in church and all of these things, it seemed like, especially not really being in control, going through foster care and living in different foster parents' home and whatever religion that it was that they represented or they worship or they claim to be, it did have a tendency to seem like life was better. And then when I woke up and I started to understand, and I started speaking to people that were woke, people that I feel that was speaking the truth, it seemed like things were so much different because, and the reason I say that is because if you truly believe, and you step outside of that realm of what you're taught and the way that the elders teach you growing up, oh, you pray to God, you do this, you do that, it's something to hang on to, it's something to hold on to. But when you profess that you are Christ, you know, Lord and Savior, you're having to put that trust and faith and belief in yourself that God has given you the strength and you are that person and you can do whatever it is that you set out to do. And I think people don't want to realize that because at the end of the day, like I say, through my trials and tribulations and my walk in this life, it's it's hard because of the simple fact that we set goals for ourselves. And I feel like setting goals is so mediocre because if you don't meet the goal that you set for yourself, you lose confidence within yourself. So
Well, what
I
about
think
making a
people
plan?
holding on. That
What
well,
about
that's what I'm getting to. So I feel like people hang on to the Bible and they hang on to church and these things and the way that they pray because it gives them something else beyond themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's their savior because they don't believe enough in themselves because they have set goals for themselves instead of making a long-term plan and they have failed. And so it's like they need something to hold on to, if
Well,
that makes
I'm
sense.
no, I hear you. I mean, because I believe a lot of that is true, but there's some people who have that use that somehow. I don't know if it's just luck or like for some people, for them to believe the way that they do is the better suited for them because their mind won't accept it the same way that it might that like the way I see it, because I mean it's more beneficial to me to see it the way I do like that. I mean I can't argue with somebody who's that's what they believe us and that's whatever blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, well, cool, what I'm saying, as long as they're not telling me that I'm stupid and this that and the other, they're not gonna have a problem out of me, because like I said, I mean it's more beneficial for me to know that, I mean, what happens in my life is directly because of me. You know what I'm saying? Like
And they don't
it's
want, that's what they don't want. That's what they got a problem with. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they ignore what the damn scriptures are saying, because I don't want that pressure. I don't want
uh,
that,
ex-
you know.
exactly, because I mean, if something good happens, hey, that's my fault. If something bad happens, that's my fault. So you know what I'm saying, and that's what in order for me to stay motivated and doing what I do. Damn, she hauling ass. But or is that a he?
No, that's her old girl. What's her name? The
Okay.
one that went viral.
But yeah, well, like I said, it's more suiting for me to see it that way because, you know, I'll be sitting around waiting. You know what I'm saying? I waited for so long for things to happen because, that's the way I was taught that, hey, you just pray, you just do this and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, God will step up for you. Well, a lot of times, in most cases, that did not happen. So when I, when I said, okay, all right, well, if I gotta do it this way, and when I realized that, okay, things happen when I move, when I do, like I can see results when I do it. A lot more things happen for me. You know what I'm saying? So,
I wish
uh,
people would just go at life in that way. I mean,
Yeah.
what
I
works
mean,
and what doesn't
it's
work.
it, to be honest with you, man, it's definitely I'll say it's that it is, well, I can't say that it's hard for everybody, but it is a bit of a challenge to step out there and to be awakening and understand that this is you. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. You know what I'm saying? When you think about the trauma, let's just go back to the trauma that most people have faced. Most people of color, and I'm not just talking about black people. I'm just talking about any minority group. You know what I'm saying? When you have been fed what you've been fed for your whole life, you go back to these things. It's hard because I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I'm being totally vulnerable. There's moments within my life and my day-to-day walk in life that I literally I'll stop and I'll pray, and it's like, and then afterwards I feel like it's like I have this feeling that comes over me, and I ain't gonna say it's so much as a feeling. It may be more so of a thought, like, dude, it's you. It's all about you. It's all about the plan that you make for this day. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but I can't, but we can't say that it's so easy to think that way because there's moments where I'm very vulnerable, I'm very emotional, and I fall back into that old, you know, Bible, church going Christian way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? And I fall back into that and I have to catch myself. So in your day-to-day walk, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to truly train yourself. You have to truly not train yourself. You have to know yourself and know your well-being and know your strengths in your everyday life. You know what I'm saying? And be most importantly be confident in yourself in order for you to
Well,
look at life in that way. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
we're all practicing humans. We're just like lawyers and doctors. I mean, we don't know every damn thing. Every day we're given we're using those moments that we have to try to do the best we can with what we have. So, I don't think of it as like, we have to, that's a part of what life is. So it's really nothing to fight. I mean, it's science. I mean, like I said, I mean, until I was able to see, God in a metaphysical way, as, scientifically, like, bro, I mean, I thought I knew what I was talking about until I was able to see the other side of it. So, I mean, we just have to continue to just do the best with what we have. We're learning things every day. I mean, just like what, Shaka was saying earlier about, our minds will change. There's things that, the more we interact with people, we live life, there's gonna be things that we're gonna you know see, or maybe even affect other people in ways to where they can see tomorrow clearer, you know.
Hopefully that's what we can do. Let me play this clip right here.
Is a pain that everyone's wallet can feel right now.
I'd be like, how much gas I'm putting in my car? I'm just gonna put $20 in there, $10 to get to where I need to be at. I'm not eating out, eating at the house. Food went up too. Everything going up. Rent going up, gas going up, food, everything. So you got to prioritize.
President Joe Biden now under pressure to
Hard
address the
time.
soaring gas prices. Fox 26's Natalie He joining us live with the latest. Natalie,
Bro,
I
that
know we're
shit
all
crazy. I
feeling it
just
at the
saw a
pump.
dude speak on that.
That's exactly right, Rashi. Houstonians feeling that burden at the gas pump. Many of them we spoke with today saying they're actually cutting back on costs in other parts of their life to accommodate the surge.
Filling up your gas tank at $5 a gallon is a pain that everyone's wallet can feel right now.
I'd be like, how much?
Oh, I thought it was a Biden clip in there, but I guess not.
Man, dude, I wish you could see that video. I couldn't share it. It was on my TikTok. I was trying to share it to you, but I can't share it. It's one of those videos that can't be shared. Um, but this guy was speaking. Uh, black dude was talking about, that their plan, the plan that Biden set forth, that he promised, that it was not going to work out, and the Democrats are having this whole congressional meeting about it, and it's not working. And what it caused is it caused inflation. It increased in taxes. It's costing, like he was saying, how's that helping the poor families? How's that helping the middle class families? When it's costing you anywhere between $500 to $1,000 more a month to live, then the price of gas has gone up. When it's costing you between $125 and $145 every time you fill up, a family SUV or a Suburban or something like that, and then it's costing you more when you go to the stores, and like he just like it's crazy, bro. And now all Fox want to talk about is Joe Biden popularity numbers in the polls have gone down significantly. You fucking think? Like, really? Is this what we need to be reporting on? Like, that we don't need you to show that Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or whoever else.
Well, look, let me ask y'all this. Have y'all, because I mean, there's something that I kind of theorized on watching that was it the whole January 6th thing with Trump and his lies and him knowing it was lies and all this kind of stuff. Have y'all any of y'all seen any of that?
No.
Wait, what did you say? I'm sorry, I was distracted. I was reading a comment. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was asking about have y'all seen the, the whole hearing that had about Trump and his known lies of, leading up to the January 6th moment.
Yeah, they've been doing a January 6 hearings, and also they were. I didn't watch any of it, but they called up his family members to. Was that wasn't Congress though, right? Was that in front of Congress where they had to speak?
No. This is that's the part that I'm talking about. Like, none of this stuff is official. This is stuff just to sell people's minds. To this is stuff to get people to, like I said. I mean, I try to remind like people. This is this is not my favorite person, but because see the reason why we're seeing this on TV is because they don't want like Biden is doing so horrible that Trump really has a chance to come back and win. That's what that whole hearing is about, is to try to make Trump bad. And if you follow this guy, this blah 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 whatever. Like they're trying, like this is like a court of public opinion. There's nothing linked to it. There's no charges. There's nothing. This is just stuff to guide your thinking.
Yep, I ain't gonna lie. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, that and then the fact, like they say, bro. Look at all of the aid, like they're talking about these electric vehicles. Our grid does not even have the room for 100 to
Bro,
200, 200, 100 or I mean 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, another $100,000. We don't even have our electrical grid. Don't even have the capacity to maintain
it
and
doesn't.
charge these electrical cars. And then on top of that, these electrical cars cost anywhere, but their starting price is anywhere between $50,000 to $60,000, and that's for a base model with
Say,
low
bro.
range.
And people don't know you have to pay a tax every year. It's like
Ex-
$2,000-$3,000 depending on the state.
And then they're talking about all of these fucking solar panels. They started this whole deal about getting solar panels on your house. Say, bro, we don't mine that shit in America no more that makes solar panels. So where does that shit come? That shit is coming from China. So we're strengthening China economy
hmm
and everywhere else,
Well,
and they're basically shitting on our people. And it goes to show you that Joe Biden, his brother, and his son has interests over there in China. They're making the money is going to them, bro. I don't care how you look
well,
at it.
well, see, the biggest problem, I mean, is what most people are not realizing is that he's not an America first president. Like, I mean, though, he's more centered on his corp, like corporate interest, things that's gonna do fine for him and his friends, but for people here in America, because they've been a global family, like they've been, like they can make money anywhere. But for people who are just Americans that live day to day here, like we're not gonna benefit from any of his agendas because he doesn't care about America. Like that's just, I mean, he just does not. I mean, there's no proof. Like you show me the proof, I'll concede. But um, he's too busy trying to build things for other people. If there was somebody that came on the other day that says that we have fuel, we have gas, oil reserves that can last us 100 years right now. And instead of using those during this period and drown out those people from charging what they're charging, because that's how they can really recalibrate and have other people, if they want to sell us oil, in order for them to bring their oil prices down, we show them we don't need it, and they'll change their mind. But instead of doing that, he's just like steadily wanting to buy from other countries, Saudi Arabia,
Bro,
Russia, wherever.
Do you remember that news report where they came out and they said that basically the oil companies are selling their stock, the stockpiles of oil that they already had, that they're selling it to the consumers. They're basically making the money back on money that they already made. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're talking about as far as when when it comes down to the oil reserves. Our reserve. I wouldn't be surprised if they're swindling that shit from underneath us to other countries and selling it back to us.
What's going on with all of these cows?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about for a second. It says,
Yeah, I
this
saw
is
that earlier. This
you
was
saw
over
it.
in Southwest Kansas. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I
and
don't know how recent that is though, or how true that is. It needs to be fact checked,
right. I
because
would love to fact
cows
check,
drop dead every day out in the middle of those out in the middle of those plains out there in Kansas, bro.
but
Like
this is a
Kansas,
lot of
Colorado.
cows. This is a lot
Well,
of cows.
I think we've
So
already seen over 1,000 of them.
it's a lot. It
Yeah.
said 10,000. It said food short. This is let me read the caption under "Let Us Awaken." Posted this on Instagram. This is what I saw earlier. It said it's been reported that over 10,000 cattle have died in Kansas from an apparent heat wave. And then on top of that it says food shortage agenda. Like, and then one the first comment it says, "Since when for 1,000, Alex?" Like something ain't right with this. Just this, like, what did they do? Did they put them? Did they had to have lined them up? Like these cows didn't die in this spot.
No, no,
Like
no, no. What they're doing is they're getting them ready for transport. That's why you see the
where?
little bob. That's why you see the little bobcat right there. The little
Yeah.
deal.
So they're
What
moving
they're
them.
doing, they're lining them up to get them ready for transport because they're dead cattle. So they're gonna
What do they
load them
do
up.
with them?
They're gonna load them up. They're gonna run tests and autopsies on them to make sure it's not poisonous. And what they'll do is shred them up and make dog food out of them, pretty much,
I hope
and
don't none of that shit
compost.
end up on nobody's fucking plate, bro, or
Table.
human.
Yeah, that's the same thing I said too. But I doubt it will because they're bloated. They're already what do you call that shit?
Yeah,
I mean,
decompose.
Decomposed.
what's the point in doing an autopsy?
Well,
Well,
you need to
because the
know.
because the farmer who owns the land, the rancher that owns the land, does not know why his cattle dropped dead. So it for me, if I was that rancher, I would not let some department of,
Whoever
some USDA Department of
try to tell
America,
me what happened. I need
do
to
an
Well,
know.
autopsy. Like
one thing,
I would do a privatized
one
company.
thing that's in common with all those cows is they all eat and drink the same thing. So
And those are
wherever,
all black Angus cows right there too,
yeah,
bro. Look like.
I mean, to me, that's just like the first thing I'm looking at. The grain that I bought, who it came from, who poisoned it, you know.
That's what I would be thinking because they talking about the sun. I mean the heat. I mean like they.
Man, we've
I'm
been
sure
dealing
they have
with.
met. They have something for that. I mean if my investment is in a bunch of damn cows, then I'm gonna make sure these niggas don't die from fucking overheating, bro. I'm gonna find a
Bro,
way to deal with
bro,
that.
this is what you need. The cows and Pat can attest to this. Cows are transported and moved around yearly. In the winter months, they move them from the states where it gets the coldest and it has the most brutal winter. They move them. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing in the summer. You know what I'm saying? They don't have cows sitting out in the middle of, 120, 130-degree temperatures, like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they get moved around. And as of right now, it's not even that hot in Kansas. I've been through Kansas, this month. I just came from Kansas right before I came home. Like it's
Yeah,
not
it's
even
not
that
that
hot.
hot. It,
Like
it
their
can't
their
be that.
hottest day has been like 80 degrees, bro.
If I was to say, I mean, and this is just, what God has put in my spirit is that they were poisoned. Because, I mean, like you said, Kansas is not that hot right now. Like, it's probably barely 80 degrees. Like, I mean, we're dealing with way more heat down here than they are in Kansas.
Well, let me tell you what the first thought I had. The first thought I had was insurance, some kind of insurance scam, and then
Well, I mean,
I mean,
Well,
he gets insurance, but he's gonna lose a lot more than
well,
what
I'm
insurance is
I'm
probably gonna pay out.
I'm gonna say this because this is conspiracy theorists side, but I mean just like there were farmers talking about mowing over their you know what they had grown so far, and they would get paid more for that uh than to actually have to go through and selling it at
And
market.
that's what I'm afraid. That's what I'm afraid because I'm thinking that, because the pinch is in. Yeah, I can clearly see the pinch is in with the
Yeah.
prices of everything. So, um, you know, you pinch, you need an excuse for the pinch. So something like this is a good cover right here. You know what I'm saying? 10,000 cows, and then when people
But
say, okay, well, there's a beef shortage, so we got to raise the price.
But how bad is our luck just like now that this president is in office? Like we just having so many different just crazy things that's just happening to us as America since this guy has been
But
in
you
office.
cannot blame this guy. This had to be planned since before. And when COVID happened, I think it just opened the floodgates for a lot of shit that they've been wanting to do for the longest.
I think all of it was is a cycle, is a part of that same cycle.
Let
I,
me
I put it
read,
I put it all together.
but you
Like
can't blame
it's
Biden.
these
Biden is a
these are
Biden.
not
Look at
these
Biden.
are not
I mean, how he's not a
well
dumbass, but how
well
competent is he?
But
Come on, y'all.
I hear what you're saying, but there's things that he will allow that others would not.
Let me read this blue pill posted the cow thing too, and I want to read his comment. He said, Mother Nature out here making hamburgers out of cows. This heat is like an open air barbecue. I bet you they still find a way to put this shit on people's plate. May they RIP. Sidebar, like they sold them dead ass pigs to y'all after the hurricane in 2018, and then suddenly C-19 popped up later on. Y'all keep sitting at the dinner table with these devils and see where that gets you. Fuck out of
Ex-
here.
he ain't lying.
Your lack of discipline makes you dangerous to yourselves. And what do it matter how they die? Put the poisonous, contaminated meat done ASAP. I think he meant to say down. I don't know what this last part.
That shit needs to. Every last one of them, they need to be burnt, bro. They
Yeah, they
need to be
probably
burnt.
got maggots and shit in them already, bro. They was bloated as fuck.
Man, fuck all that. Fuck the maggot part. And the fact that they died. 3,000 over 3,000 cows died. They need
They
to be
said
burnt.
10,000.
Yeah, that's the number I
That's a
heard.
big, huge number. How does
Yeah.
that happen?
Well, I mean, and I mean that's really like for what America uses, 10,000 is probably a week's
That's
worth.
nothing. Yeah, that's nothing compared to what we use, but that's big compared to, like, was it all off of
No,
one farm? How many other cows were left afterwards? Like, that's that's freaking huge.
no, I mean, I'm not saying it's no big deal, but I'm just saying like that's still maybe a week's worth of food or of beef for the country. But
Probably less than that. Probably less than that. We eat a lot of burgers and shit. That's another thing. And I was talking about, they were talking about hamburgers, and they were talking about how many hamburgers people consume in the States. And they were like doing the math, and it was like, wait a minute, that doesn't add up. There's not enough cows to cover that. I was looking at the numbers one day, and
yeah,
that's what they were
no, I
saying. It was like,
well, I mean, in my government, like they've been telling us for a long time, like so. I mean, there's other meats that we can eat that we don't have to rely on, you know, the people you can deal with. You know what I'm saying? And I know for like most people are used to just dealing with, because I've been eating mostly fruit and veggies, and I've been getting bison. So and who's to say? I mean, I don't know if that's been something that's been affected, but and it's expensive, but like I like meat, so I'm just gonna pay a little more and
What
get
you say?
something that who me?
Yeah, what you were saying? It needs to be what?
No, I'm just saying like I've been eating bison. because
Oh,
like
okay.
one like they're saying like pretty turkey, chicken, beef.
All that.
Well, I always like I never really fool with pork anyway, but of course for some people that needs to be said. Like those foods you really need to avoid because these people are you just don't know how far they will go. I mean, and that's just
Yeah. Man, that's crazy because my wife sent me a video this week that basically said that y'all keep eating the chicken that they're selling y'all, because the guy was basically saying in the video these chickens from the day that they're born up until they go to the slaughterhouse, it's only like I think it's like 10 days or something like that. Like these chickens are only supposed to be alive for 30 days, and that's what they're putting on our plates, you know. And I was just like,
Souped up
wow,
with hormones and every growth hormones and all these different antibiotics and the environments that they keep them in. Most of the chickens are grown in a way where they don't even get to move during their life. Like they're stuck in this little bitty cage their whole little life. They tend to be eating poop. They pack them up, they stack them up on top of each other. So the ones lower down are going to be eating poop. It's a nasty, sick ass environment that's not
hmm.
healthy.
Well, I mean, the smell of a chicken, when you go to these with these like large chicken distributors and
You can
stuff like
smell
that,
that shit from.
bro, man, it's horrible, bro.
there's a NFL player. I forget his name, but he went to Texas A&M. I think he still plays in the NFL, or he maybe retired. But he has a chicken farm up around, like I want to say it's like up there around where Texas A&M is at, and like it's organic free range chickens. No, chicken that's born in a fucking incubator, that type of shit. Damn, I forget his name, bro. I had to Google him. But I watched this little documentary on him a few years ago. Uh, God, I forget his name, but even still, bro, you just never know, man. You don't know. You
Man,
don't know what you're getting, bro.
man, you say, bro, that's one of the other important reasons because, like, I'm still trying to get my stuff together for being able to grow my own stuff because I mean if you got chickens and you're raising them and you're doing so okay, I think that's going to be a different thing because you're not going through the same process that they are. Like they're not mass producing chickens. Like
Yeah,
man, I see how they even cracked. Like I saw this thing that they were doing. I don't know where it was, if it was China or whatever, but I think when they show that to you, like that's probably the common thing. Like they're taking the eggs, they crack them open, they drop them in this little container, they close it, and then they incubate it with like out of the eggshell. And then before you know it, like and I think that was on one of the things they were showing, like for KFC, like these are featherless birds, like chickens. A lot of them come here featherless, and bro, I don't know, man. Like I don't like me going to different restaurants and stuff like that. Like I don't trust it, bro. Like I mean, every day, like this right here just reinforces stuff that I've been preaching myself, but what I've been hearing, what I've been taught, and also what I've been trying to teach.
Yeah, you can't even trust the free range chicken all the time unless you saw the doc. Like Deuce is saying, it was a documentary or something. But even the ones where they say free range chicken, I saw a documentary where they showed some of those free range chicken farms, and that shit is not healthy either. It's just nasty,
yeah,
and gross, and fucked up.
yeah. I mean, I used to deliver. I delivered CO2 a lot, and I went a lot of the places I went to were chicken plants. All but there, I delivered a lot between around Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. They got a lot of chicken plants up there, out that way, and they would be hauled in, and they were all white feathered chickens. You know what I'm saying? You go to Tyson, you go to Pilgrim's Pride, you go to the little small chicken plants, you go to Sanderson Farms and Purdue there, all these, you know what I'm saying? And I got a Salvadorian friend, which is my best friend. You know, they live out in the country. They live over in Fresno area and they got a bunch of land and his parents, they got a bunch of, you know, chickens, free range chickens. And I seen his mom out there killing the chicken, bro. That was gonna be for dinner. That chicken ain't pink and white skin like what we get in the stores. That chicken with the white skin and it's no, it ain't that color. Trust me, it is not that color. You know what I'm saying? The chicken that you raise, it is not that color. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and you think about like they're raising all of these chickens and the amount of chicken that we consume in this country alone. Like, there's no way they can keep up, bro. There's no way they can keep up without the shit that they're doing, the shit that Pat was just talking about.
That
You know
white
what I'm
skin
saying? You,
chicken is not natural.
yeah,
That's
you
not.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, white feather. Then they pull the feathers off of the skin is white and this chicken is pink. Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like this shit is not natural, bro. Like I say, bro. Like I've been to his house several times, man, and his mom. Like I literally seen her go. It's like it's like she the fucking chicken whisperer, bro. She just walk out there. Chickens are walking around pecking at the ground. She just pick one up, whichever one she want for that night. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know what I'm saying? She take and put the chicken down and lay a piece. She has like a piece of rebar and put the chicken neck underneath the rebar and pull the body. The neck pops off and there you go. She proceeds to boil it, get the feathers off of there. She does all this process outside, get all the feathers off and clean it up real good, gut them and everything like that. And it's not that color, bro. I can tell you that much.
Let me play this one clip and then I'm gonna get into the show because I'm not gonna stand here long.
Are up nearly 12%. The typical American families are now paying about $350 more every single month on the same goods and services they were spending on a year ago. That means gasoline prices are up 49%, shelter costs up 5.5%, and groceries are up nearly 12%. The typical American families are now paying about $350 more every single month on the same goods and services they were spending on a year ago.
They said $350 a month more on everybody's budget. That sounds about right.
I think it's more, but you know.
You know, I'm sure they're averaging it out.
Well, yeah, of course that's the I guess national average, but yeah, I guess some places it's gonna be more than others, but
And that's the pinch right there, man. That's the pinch. I'm gonna go switch that.
yeah, I mean, look, we gotta be more efficient, man. I've been saving seeds. I luckily found some watermelons that was seeded, so you know I'm like trying to find somewhere I can grow me some watermelons, but some of the other seeds I got they probably take a little longer, but man, we
Yeah.
we we,
You've
we
been
can't
saying
keep
that for the longest. Like, learn how to grow some food. You know, save up some damn money. You know.
so, hey man, I mean the money, you know, yeah, I guess yeah, the money will help you, but I'm like stocking up on some stuff the healthiest that you can because I mean things that's gonna last for 3 to 6 months, you know, as things really get crazy. So you don't have to be trying to go fight with other people about, you know, dinner for tonight.
Yeah. So I gotta. I'm off tomorrow, and I want to spend some time with Kenzie, cause so I can't stay on too long. So I want to get into the show, and move
Well,
on.
yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I was curious about your title. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
I was hoping that would make some people curious. That was my point. Bern, you remember when that was the campaign slogan? It wasn't a campaign slogan. What was it? They used it in the advertisement.
That was a hashtag that
It
they
was a
had
hashtag.
created.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a hashtag that was created by the Bernie supporters because, shoot, he was coming. I mean, really, at one point, he was coming with it. Shoot, this is shit. How long ago?
It's been a
Shit.
minute because that was the first time he ran, and oh my
Yeah.
god! But anyways, I was into it. So feel the burn. I was feeling the burn. So that's the title. That's the meaning of the title. But it's Bernie kind of had a little debate with Lindsey Graham, and I think he, dropped a couple jewels. So that's why I named it "Feel the Burn." Even though it doesn't even really matter at all, but I think that the reason why I want to cover this is because of the words that he says needs to be heard more, even though he says the same shit over and over. Elliot, it won't let me add you. It says device not connected. Maybe your phone's not charging up. Let me play some of this. This is our Canadian dude that I like.
Yeah.
But take a look at the issues that we are fighting for on every one of those issues. Lindsay, guess what? American people support me, not you.
Independent Senator Bernie Sanders laid the smack down on Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Sorry, I've been watching some wrestling during the Fox News debate. So this was a random debate they held for some reason. I'm going to show you 6 incredible clips here.
What happened?
My bad, y'all.
Before we get to that, let's get to the important stuff. First, here is a clip shortly after their opening statements where Bernie is exposing Lindsey Graham's influences.
The Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the White House. All these problems that were talked about, they could change or fix if they could. Their agenda is not working. So here's what I want to tell you. Vote Republican in 2022. Do yourself a favor.
What you don't hear him talking about are, in fact, the most important issues facing this country. That's what the establishment does. Lindsay is a very good and effective representative of the establishment. Does Lindsay have a concern that we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people? That some 60,000 people a year die because they don't get to a doctor on time? I didn't hear much about that in that opening statement. Lindsay care that we have the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, and that the pharmaceutical industry right now has 1,500 paid lobbyists in Washington, D.C. to make sure that in some cases we pay 10 times more for the medicine that we need? Did Lindsay talk about the fact that we have in South Carolina and all over this country tens of millions of workers working for starvation wages? Did he talk about a corrupt political system in which billionaires today can start a super PAC? And I guess you have some familiarity with super PACs. They help fund your campaign.
All right. This is only a start. It gets even better. But here, I mean, Bernie goes on to discuss more about money in politics, climate change, wealth inequality, corporate consolidation, his general Bernie speech. But as you'll see with the other clips, he really goes, even further and than what he has, normal.
What y'all think? Make comments. I'm gonna refresh my page. I'll be right back here.
I'm not that excited about. I mean, this is the same stuff we've been talking about. I mean, we have politicians always speaking about what the other one does and the other one doesn't, blah 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 blah, and then when they get in office, it just everything that they talked about just seems to evade them because somebody's got got their hand in their back. So I'm not enthused by it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I didn't even hear what the Republican dude had to say, but I don't even care, what he has to say either because they all, like, bro, we're not gonna get anybody that's gonna really care about what we want because there's not enough people that they're gonna, people that they're gonna allow up to the top like that. If somebody at the grassroots level really makes it to the top, they're gonna find a way to shoot them in the foot, or as we might say, suicide them. So I don't know. Look, Bernie's been sounding great for years, but this.
I'm back. Let me play a little bit more. I think that the reason why I played this is because I like the comments that Bernie made.
What's that background noise got to go? Well, I don't know what was.
Yeah,
Feedback.
I've been hearing it since you've been talking. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, I mean, whoever that is, just mute until it's your turn. I mean, but I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude.
Yeah. Bernie's comments about, like, it's really all common sense, but it's just stuff that I think that people need to hear more often. Like, the
Yeah, I mean, but this is like, how long has it, like, we've been like, that's what I'm saying. We've heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been speaking the same thing for the longest time. But okay, here, this is the thing, and I know people will say, "Oh, well, you can't expect." Nah, fuck that. Bernie Sanders been speaking the same thing, and it's like, why aren't you trying to make any changes or differences instead of going buy a new fucking house at your age? You know what I'm saying? Like,
he is trying. I mean, I think he is. I mean, what do you
really, bro? What kind of money is he putting out there? Let's be real.
Well, I mean, he's not gonna. I don't think personally he's got enough money to, like, he doesn't have United States of America's money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't expect him to dig in his pockets to do, a whole lot. Yeah, there's things that he can do, but, like, for to really make a change for America, no, he don't have that kind of money. He's not. I don't think he's a billionaire. There's many people that's in place already that's got a clean and dirty money that could make a difference, but I don't even expect them to do anything. But my thing is
like
that
Chaka President Biden.
but
I'm just fucking with you, bro.
I know, yeah, I do the same thing. But my thing is that we hear all these things all the time, and that's the thing. Like, we fall for a lot of this and get on that train, and it's really they're trying to see what's going to work. The Democrats are like, if Biden need to sit down, and, like, if they can keep you on the Democratic train and going down that road, because just like before they get in office, they can do and say whatever they want, but once they get in office, they got, I mean, the strings are attached.
y'all gonna make people think I really like Biden.
No, it's not. No, this is not about Biden.
I don't like Biden.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
I honestly feel that we need to go more to a conservative style of running this government so that we can get things under control.
But I think that's the dominant message. You're speaking the dominant narrative.
Yeah, but I mean, but that's true. That's what I mean. I'm not alone in this. That's why it's a dominant narrative. Like, I'm not. I mean, this is the way. Like, the average American is more conservative. I mean, until we, like, we, like, a lot of us, a lot of people, they hear these great things, these great ideas, until you start trying to actually do the calculation. Like, if you're a person who actually, all right, so this is going to be this, and that's going to take this, and this, and you start realizing that it's an impossible task for the plan that somebody supposed, that we put together. And then, when you do that, you get a lot of money that's stolen and put in places that it shouldn't be, to where the project never happens. Like, we got infrastructure stuff that's been going on for fucking 10, 15, 20 years that's still not complete.
But a lot of this is, like I say, the buddy system, giving away to their buddies, and then a lot of it is racial, because some of this construction, like when I drive over there off of 610, dudes, back me up on this. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. 610 over there, Stella Link going towards MLK and all of that shit. like it seems like that construction has been there fucking forever, like literally fucking forever. Like the tractors, everything is still sitting in the same spot. Ain't nobody doing no fucking work over there.
Yeah,
It's
because
the
they say that
hood.
they say that the population keep growing. So by the time they get it done, the census come out and they gotta make more room. It's bullshit, bro.
It's bullshit. That's a black neighborhood, and it's ripped apart in a fucking mess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but that's one example. I mean, shoot, bro, I drive all over the country. I know dude's gonna tell. Like, I don't know how. Like, one place that irritates the hell out of me is in South Carolina. There's I-75, north and south. It's screwed. Like, bro, and then especially trying to come through there in a truck, bro. I mean, it's horrible. And I mean, there's other places throughout the country that shoot, that's not even getting the attention, like that they haven't even started on that needs help. And yes,
Our infrastructure is a
we need
mess. But I want to go back to what you said, Pat, because I agree with you. I think that most of Americans are conservative, but I think it's on we're socially conservative majority. But you were talking about economics, and I don't think so economically. I don't think that most people are economically conservative in America, in the United States.
Well, I think I think the majority of us are. There's a bunch of us that do only get conservative when they get scared, when the pinch is in, like right now, like when they're forced, when things are looking so ugly, it's like, oh well, damn, I can't, like they have to be like like there's people who's gonna
And that's
spend
where I'm at.
because they know where like, okay, next week is coming, I'm gonna get another one of these checks, you know what I'm saying? And it's a whole different scenario, especially that right now. Like, I mean, shoot, we're seeing something that has never, like,
I think we're going into a depression. I'm surprised they aren't saying it yet. But
no, but that's the problem. We're not going into a depression.
We're in it.
We're in a depression. I mean, just because you're
We're
not in a food line yet doesn't
we're in it. I completely agree. We're in it. And I'm surprised that they're not just saying that a lot, because they should be to wake people up.
But they're pacifying the masses because everybody can't handle it the same way. And I just got to say it. I mean, like like we're in the belly of it. We're in the middle of it.
We're in the worst. I mean, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. I think it's gonna be as bad as the 20s.
The news is different everywhere you go. And I've lived in multiple states, and I'm like, well, not to cut anybody off, but the news is different on the West Coast versus the East Coast. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like, a particular, the hood, or, how do you say it, like the suburbs. It's all different information, regurgitated, program, which makes you think back to like the Matrix. It's like, are we really on the same page? Because we're not.
So
people have to be journalists, which Shaka is doing, but we also have to be able to decipher information, get information from different places, and put it together. Most people don't have that time, nor do they care. They come home, they turn the television on, and they start whatever's there.
And the media adds on to that. You're muffled, so I'm gonna clear up what he said. He said that he was on the East Coast and the West Coast, and he's getting different messages. Different people in different parts of the country are looking at things in different ways, and they don't have time to dig through the shit and really see what the fuck is going on. And what I'm saying is the media is playing on that. You know what I'm saying? The media is, somewhere I saw a video where they said the media and the military industrial complex is really the same thing. And then I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but we talked about it in the other show, but how the CIA, they said that, it's a national security racket is what the guy was saying. He's saying that the CIA interests supersede, the law even. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're ones who running the show, and they are the ones who run the media. They could, so this division that's happening, the Republican, Democrat, black, white, Black Lives Matter, all of this shit is getting fed to the media through the military industrial complex. So
Well,
it ain't
and
no
if
coincidence that people in the different parts of the country look at
The
things differently.
media,
well, I mean,
the media is the
you
third
gotta
branch of the government.
look. Just take this for instance. Let me say this real quick because this is something I want y'all to pay attention to because the media, all of a sudden, because that the shooting in Buffalo, then the Uvalde, like all of a sudden this gun issue. Now every day there's a new gun thing that pops up somewhere, like that is. Am I saying that all of it is constructed by the powers that be? Because I'll say that because I mean there's even some sources that even have pointed out that the CIA and FBI have a lot to do with that. But the average everyday person is not seeing that. All they're seeing is what's on the news and you know what's being said. Like no, everybody's not doing due diligence. You know what I'm saying? So they are like just like what was happening back in the 60s with uh well, I can't think of his name, but the FBI guy back then that was doing the COINTELPRO. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things are being played out on us, whether you see it the same in the same light as it was that you can see what happened in the past now, because everybody kind of puts it out, looks at it like, oh, well, that was then. No, it is still at play. All these things that was happening to us then, like yeah, they'll talk about it. Oh yeah, this happened, blah blah blah. But that same thing is being done to you as we speak. Like it's nothing has changed.
And that's why I study history, and it's the most fascinating shit to me ever. Is because I'm so interested in what actually really be happening now. And it's like when people are people, humans are humans, and like they put in certain situations, they pretty much do the same thing if they're intelligent
It's it's
being.
al- it's almost constructed like I mean, because when you really look at it, 1919 is when the flu epidemic happened. Okay,
The Spanish flu.
2019. Well, but no, this was just fluenza. This was the first. The Spanish flu came in what the 90s or 2000. Like that's a different type of flu. They came in no fluenza. The first sign of fluenza, just like the first sign of the C Dovik or what? No, how I was trying to say it backwards.
C19. That
Uh,
was really cool how he used that. I caught that too. Yes. That's how we,
but
we could do it from now on. C19, that's good. It'll
yeah,
miss the algorithm. Go ahead.
yeah, but that whole like I mean, if you really think about it, like that whole 100-year plan is really at play again, just in a different way. Like if you
Yeah.
really look at it year to year, like I said, like I mean, because the you know influenza, then the depression,
The way
which
that
is
the way that they reacted, all of that shit, the masks, and I freaked out. We covered this in my class. We did what was that class? Diseases of Antiquity. I don't know what class it was, but we talked about this stuff. And that flu, I did a paper on it, but it really tripped me out how many similarities to that was to now, and because that's what the question. Oh, it was a test. It was one of the finals or something. They made us write a paper, and they was like comparing that flu to COVID-19, and like you know differences and similarities. And it really, I was writing forever on the similarities. I had a hard time finding differences.
yeah. But I mean, I don't know, bro. I think that people really need to start looking at it from like there's nothing new under the sun. Like these plays that like they just dug into an old playbook and they're just going down and trying to control the masses the same way they wanted to back then, and they just weren't truly prepared to do it. And I think they feel they're more better prepared to do it now.
I want to play some more of our Canadian dude.
Is known for saying, and it gets even better. But here, look, Lindsey Graham, throughout this debate, I watched the entire thing. He attacks every attempt at an attack by Lindsey Graham on Bernie Sanders is trying to act like Biden is implementing Bernie's agenda, when that is nowhere near the case. Like he says over and over again, elect more Republicans because the Bernie agenda is not working. Like what Bernie? Like what are you talking about? Biden right now is governing as a conservative. He is barely even doing what he promised to do during the campaign. Has he talked at all? Has Biden talked at all about a public option? He ran on that in 2020. He hasn't even mentioned it since. So to act like Biden is somehow implementing this progressive agenda and it's not working is so incredibly dishonest. And Lindsey Graham knows he's full of shit, but it's the only way he's able to even attack what Bernie Sanders is saying here. Now, let's go on to the next clip here where it's about gas prices. And it becomes very clear how correct Bernie Sanders is and how Lindsey Graham has no ability to combat this anyway.
So I would ask you to focus on lowering gas prices, securing the border, and bringing law and order back to America. And the only way you're going to do that, Senator Sanders, is abandon the agenda that you've charted for America, because it is not working.
Well, let's talk about gas prices, because you're right. They are outrageously high in Vermont. They're now filled up the other day, $5.05 a gallon. Meanwhile, the major oil companies made $35 billion in profit in the first quarter of this year. And at the end of the year, it is estimated they're going to give $88 billion in stock buybacks to their wealthy shareholders. So I do think we have to do something about the outrageously high price of gas. I think the president should bring the major oil companies in and tell them we're going to have a windfall profits tax on what they're doing in order to stop them from ripping off the American people. You know, the last time that oil prices were at $118 a barrel, which is what they are right now, roughly speaking, average gasoline prices at the pump were $3.83, not over $5 a gallon. So I think in the midst of what is going on in this world, and that is the war in Ukraine and Russia oil and the stopping of oil, I think what the oil companies are doing is taking advantage of that situation and raising prices to an outrageous level, which is hurting the American working family.
All right, so I got some tabs on this because, of course, Bernie Sanders is 100% correct. And Lindsey Graham, as a representative of the establishment, as he even nodded along in that first clip to Bernie saying that, and a representative, because of that, of capitalism, Graham has no, retort to this. He can't combat this because Bernie's exactly right. The issue is corporate greed.
1000%.
So looking here at this graph, this is from Representative Diana DeGetti, if I'm saying that correctly. The price of oil is down 20% from its peak earlier this month, but the price at the pump has stayed near record highs. Big oil is raking in record profits while the American people feel the pain at the pump. If these companies don't act now to lower gas prices, Congress will. So,
okay. It sounded like you was going to say something, Pat.
No, I said no. Bernie was 1000% correct about that because I remember because when I was moving, transporting crude oil, I got paid by the barrel, by how many barrels I bring in, and it was a percentage, and I knew that, like, it was up to like $120 a barrel at that time, and like I said, we never. This was shit. This is 2020. I think this was back in 2017, 18, 2000. Maybe it was 16 or 17. So I mean, this is something we're looking at 5-6 years ago, where the prices were the same, but we never saw prices like this. Like, what's the difference?
What the fuck?
Yeah, is this platinum gas and diesel? Like
Does it make the car run longer or faster? You know,
no. So everybody I talk to feels like the gas is running out faster.
that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I swear it's lighter. It
You
just
know,
might be the price, but I swear it feels like it burns faster.
man.
But it goes
I
back to
think
what
we just
Deuce.
pay more attention to it because of the price of it.
Right. It's
You know what
probably
I'm
just in
saying?
our head.
Maybe it's been burning like that for the longest, but
No,
because of the price,
that's what.
you know, you're paying more. You're more aware of it.
Yeah, but Deuce, earlier you said about the stocks buybacks, and they mentioned that just now in this clip, and I think that's what it is. Period, bro. It's period that. That's what it is, and this is what's happening, and not just in the oil industry, but a lot of these big companies are doing this. And I mean, it's really good for their bottom line. It works for their profit margin, and it works for their stockholders. So everybody that's matters, it works for. You know what I'm saying? So, but this is also what's pushing us into this damn bubble that leads to depression. That's the same thing that happened. They talked about it. I didn't understand it before, but when that housing crisis happened, and that's me being more aware at this time and following a lot of that shit. I really started to understand that shit about how what happened that time. And do y'all remember that Occupy Wall Street? This was Obama back then.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
And you know that's what they did. They just basically they made money off of something that they shouldn't have made money off of, that was like phantom numbers basically. And so at some point that bubble is going to burst because the numbers aren't real, but then somebody has to pay this bill because the bill has to
Yeah.
be paid. So but then it's going to be the average regular folks, the folks that lost their house, the people that the stories you don't hear about, the regular
That's
Joe
the shit that
Blows.
they were. That's the shit that they were betting against. That's why. That's why you had all of that bullshit adjustable rate, bro. You had people back then getting into houses that couldn't afford it, but because of this adjustable rate mortgage and them being uneducated, they were paying what they were paying for a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom apartment the first year or two of their mortgage, and then all of a sudden their mortgage jumped
Balloon
from
payment.
mortggage jumped from 750, 800 a month to
This
12, 1400 a month, and they can't afford it. They don't have the money to afford it. And then on top of that, they were getting people in that they wasn't people wasn't escrowing their shit in. So they're having these taxes, these high ass taxes. So you got people moving from, wherever over to the southwest side of town, moving into Fort Bend County, moving into Teal Run neighborhoods and all of these other neighborhoods, bro. And the taxes are fucking killing them. Like they're literally house poor when that bubble hits, at that point, and they can't afford these houses. It's crazy,
but
but it's like the opposite is happening right now. It's like, like right now, people are literally fighting and arguing over houses. Like, people are paying $50,000 over asking. You know what I'm saying? And this
But
is the
that's these
shit that
corporations that's doing
yeah,
that. The
yeah,
BlackRock and them, because they have the money they have the liquid cash to pay 50%
yeah,
over fucking.
yeah. And this is the thing, bro. This is the thing that they betted against, and that's why I say, like, people are, I had a guy argue with me, old head argument. Oh, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Obama did what he did the best he could for people. No, he didn't, bro. He bailed out these fucking mortgage companies, these banks, and in return, the people that were behind in their mortgage lost their houses, and they were
He
out
was
on the fucking streets.
he
You
was
And
know what
that's
he
I'm
what
was
I'm
the
saying?
guy
saying.
he was the guy that they used to lie to everybody that this is something that they had to do because of like, all right, these people totally went, this was a scam. Like this was Enron played on everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it wasn't just people who just decided to invest. No,
We're
they
lost.
told.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I stepped outside for a second. Let me go back. But no, they used the American people, those people who were in position to make purchases. They purposely wrote up these these contracts that they knew people would not be able to fulfill.
And they knew they were going to cash in. That's what I'm saying. And that's what makes me so fucking mad. I'm glad you brought up Enron because that's a perfect example. You know, all them people lost their life savings and shit. They never got that shit back, bro. Those people went to jail or whatever. The company went out of business or whatever. But those people didn't get their life savings back.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
no, they didn't, bro. They didn't, and but this is the thing, bro. Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, I know these people are making money off of this shit, but at the same time, bro, this shit is so evil. Like, they bet that this shit is gonna fall,
And they make
bro,
and they
money off of
make
that.
millions,
bro,
if not billions, off of it.
bro, like just like right now, like this whole like, because I mean, they know the solution to our problem is not to raise interest rates, but but to so that they can still make the same kind of money they want. They're looking to make for themselves. The banks, the corporations, this, that, and the other, that they have to raise interest rates because they're not going to sell as many houses this year and next year that they would in 20 or 19 or 18 or whatever. So like all these things, like I mean, it's just really breaks down to just totally greed instead of, because I mean, they're not running the government for us, they're running it against us and for themselves.
Yeah,
And when people really realize that, and because I mean, this is like we're going through the tyranny that the First Amendment, like they're trying to, like, they're going against the Second Amendment right now, because they know that that's what the Second Amendment was built for, was for you to go up against a tyrannical government when it tries to overplay its hand and try to do the things that they're doing right now. So like, bro, like it's, man, like it's like, and I don't think that the people really see it.
I don't think so either. I wish they watched this damn show. I kind of want to move on. Do y'all want to do AI or
Who,
social
Alan Iverson?
contract? Huh? No,
Who?
artificial intelligence. Want to talk about artificial intelligence or the
I know.
social contract? Which one?
I'm just messing with you. You said social contracting?
The social contract. It's really
Um,
interesting. I'm gonna cover both
I
of them
I
regardless.
I was gonna I think that sounds more interesting than AI.
Okay, let's go into that.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, shit. This conversation we having, bro, is so fucking informative. Like,
Yeah, go ahead. You could go on with what we was talking about. I just wanted to know where we're going next because I'm about to go into that. So
Yeah, no, say, bro. I mean, a lot of people are just going along with the flow, like, oh, poor me. Look at what I'm paying. Like, bro, like we need to, like, we got to do something. And
yeah,
we're so separated and divided that should we still, like, people are still looking at black and white and brown and, like, all this other craziness that they can use us in all kind of ways, because, like, we won't talk to each other or interact in the ways that we should, just as Americans, regardless of how we here, like whether we always been here or if we just came
Stay
last week.
tuned at the end of this episode to find out.
sorry. Go ahead. I didn't know I was
Yeah.
sharing. I thought I was watching this on my own. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's something that we gotta do something, bro. Like, I mean, us, always expecting that our government is just gonna all of one day just change what they've been doing to suit us. Like,
man, just go and say it, Pat. They don't give a fuck. This government is not for the people. And
Or
and
of the people or by the people.
I totally understand where you going with it. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
no,
feel the same
I'm
way. You
cool.
feel like it's super ignorant of people to be looking at a black and white, to be even looking at race, to even look at race, bro. Because right now everybody's getting fucked. If you are not in that percentile, if you're not in the percentile of the elite, or if your income, if your salary is not of
You
$2 to
taking the
$3 billion
cornhole in the
a
pipe.
year, yeah, bro, like you getting bent the fuck over. It don't matter if you white, black, Asian, Chinese.
You
If
taking it up
you
the
are
cornhole.
middle class and you're only making
No, what
upwards of
what
two to
what the
If
three
you
China
hundred
drive a
what
thousand a
car,
year,
if you drive,
Asians are a protected class here now. Like I mean, I mean, just from supposedly getting pushed around. I don't, like getting pushed down to your knees when like which might have happened 5 times, something. Now it was like an epidemic of something that was happening here in America, and then they try to act like it was black people doing it, but I mean, really, it was white guys that was doing it on some crazy, a one timer thing. But now there's a whole bill that comes up for them. Am I mad at them? No, I'm mad at our government because there's other things that's happening to
maybe
to other people that
Pat, maybe they
is
feel
worse.
guilty. Maybe they feel guilty about the southern borders and the way they treated the Chinese black. It's funny because they never feel guilty about how they treated black people in this country, but they feel so guilty on how they treated the Chinese,
Well,
how they're treating the Mexicans at the southern border, how they're treating everybody else, but they never feel sorry for how they treated black people in this country. And maybe that's what it is. Like they're feeling sorry the way that they treated the Chinese who were trying to, you know, flee the southern borders and make it
no,
over here
no.
back then.
Well, I
It's
have a different
crazy,
way
bro.
of I have a different way of seeing that. Because honestly, I think it's to really piss off other Americans.
just keep everybody separated. It's another part of the agenda, and that's why I was about to say I don't know how we got on this topic when we was talking about we're all taking it up. If you buy gas, if you go to the grocery store and buy food, if you I don't know if
If you
you
buy a watermelon with black seeds in it, you might as well say you just got fucked at HEB register. At the
I,
register, late like literally, HEB himself bent you over and stuck dick in you. Like,
that's what I'm saying,
cause
and it don't matter
I
what color or your sexual preference. If you're a
No, none of that.
transgender, nigga, you getting it.
bro,
Exactly,
my
bro.
wife
Like,
bought a seeded watermelon today. That bitch was $9.98.
I didn't pay
Literally.
that much. I didn't pay
Bro,
that
I
much.
was like, what the fuck? Now
But
the
it's su- but it
seedless
but it's su-
watermelon, the
but it's
seed
such a rare thing that
bro, I remember Pat, we can't even make that excuse because nigga, I grew up in South Louisiana and I grew up in Houston and I
but
remember paying a
I'm not gonna
dollar
lie.
for a watermelon, bro.
I would have
Me
paid
too.
$10 for it. I ain't gonna lie. I still would have bought it. Like, but
We
I think I
bought
It's
it.
might have paid
worth
about
it. Yeah,
$6.50, $7. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
We
But
bought it. Don't get me wrong, we bought it. We bought it because that bitch was good and cold. HEB had just bought it out their coolers. It
Yeah.
was good and cold. Like it was so cold, the watermelon was sweating. It was that cold. Like it was. We bought it. It's sitting in the fridge right now, split open. She done already made her some watermelon juice, with one half of it,
You
and
just gotta pay. It's the pinch is in. So like dudes, it don't really. I mean, it affects you, but you because of your lifestyle. And same thing with you, Pat. Like the way y'all live, like a king, a god, gonna move around, and I mean, like, okay, you gonna make me pay a little bit more for the watermelon, but I'm fucking gonna get the hoe anyway because I'm fucking finna eat some watermelon, so you ain't fucking finna stop me. But there's a huge segment of society that because of that price change, it just took that watermelon right out of their budget.
bro, they just
yeah,
one thing that I will say, and this is not to
like
sound nonchalant.
they don't even get a chance to even really even like put that on in their mind that they can maybe get it.
Yeah, bro, you just have to you can't whatever's going on around you, man. Like one thing that I realized in this life, bro, you can't stop. You can't let even when you feel defeated, you know what I'm saying? If you gotta cry to yourself for a moment, if you gotta go sit in the shower and cry to yourself for a moment, then you do that. But you can't ever be defeated, bro.
I'm
Like you
telling you,
can't you
I'm
can't be
No,
defeated. Like you
I,
you can't stop. Like you have to because You know, and I tell myself this, bro, and I don't mean no disrespect. My wife is sitting right here, but I have to say to myself, it's not about my wife. It's not about my kids. I can't be defeated because of me. Because if I
Oh,
continue to keep myself as the motivator, they're gonna benefit no matter what. They're
yeah,
going to benefit. You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? And I have to keep pressing forward, even in my lowest moments, bro. Like, right? Like, I make, don't get me wrong, dude. Like, as a company driver, let me just say this. I make lease purchase, and Pat know what I mean when I say a lease purchase driver. That 2,500 a week type of money. That's what I make, and the pinch is on. Like, it's tough because I mean my wife don't make a whole lot, but she does carry her weight around here, like the household needs and stuff. But the pinch is on between me with the attorneys right now, with the IRS, with trying to get caught up on back, little back shit that's been lingering over my head that I'm trying to get caught up on because, hey, lease renewal is coming up. If we move somewhere else, I gotta have this shit cleared up. Like, dog, the pinch is on. You feel me? But I just refuse to say that I'm finna lower myself. I'm finna lower my standards. Like, bro, I will sacrifice myself and continue to press forward to make sure that they got around here. And like I say, I look at me as the motivate. Like, I gotta keep pressing forward because I've been through it. The way I grew up, this has been my life. So I've been through it, but my wife and my kids ain't ever experienced that. You feel me? So I gotta stay strong and continue to press forward. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know how to handle that, but I do. So, you know, y'all know what I'm getting at.
Well,
Me and Pat definitely hear you. And I was gonna say that's the reason why we're here because I would have bought the watermelon too. I don't give a fuck. So, but but that's why we're here on this show right now too. Because like I'm saying is not everybody is just willing to put in the effort and work to get what they want and do what they want and try to make a difference or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
yeah,
the three of us here, I'm sure Elliot too, are willing to do what it takes. You know what I'm saying? And that's God energy. Earlier, the guy was talking about Jesus Christ and believing in Jesus Christ. That's you guys believing in Jesus Christ, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Because y'all not worried about whatever the hell some other man do, unless they take your life. It don't even matter because you're gonna take care of business regardless, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck. I'm gonna take care of business. I want to get into this social contract shit. I don't want to put y'all to sleep, but I do want
Go
to talk
ahead, bro.
about this for a second.
Ready, and my relatable girl next door influencer personality, and I'm ready to take you on an exciting journey through the dark, seedy underbelly of Detroit property taxes in the early 2000s. For real though, it is actually fascinating and quite dark. If you own a house, you've got to pay taxes on it every year. How much you pay depends on how much it's worth. If you have a really nice house, you pay more. If you live in an old ruin, you pay less. Or at least that's how it's supposed to work. But starting in 2009, the city of Detroit suddenly decided that a lot of old, run-down houses in poor neighborhoods, predominantly black neighborhoods, were actually worth loads of money and raised the property taxes on them by a huge amount. A lot of residents couldn't afford the new taxes, so they got their homes foreclosed on, about 100,000 homes in total. And obviously, this made them miserable, stressed, poor, homeless, and even dead. And it was illegal. Michigan has a law on the books that says authorities can't value a home for tax purposes at more than 50% of its market value. And many of the residents weren't supposed to be paying any taxes anyway because they were living below the poverty threshold. So double illegal. The truest crime there is. But the law was just ignored. Even after the evidence came out that this was illegal, city officials said, well, just pay your taxes, you bums. And if you don't, you get evicted. And what are you supposed to say to that? You're going to hire a lawyer? Well, how can you afford one? Because the city can afford a great lawyer. Now they've pocketed all the cash they got from selling your house.
It's free real estate.
Essentially, the government of Detroit and
That's what
Wayne
they do
County,
everywhere,
Michigan,
bro.
stole tens of thousands of houses from poor people, mainly poor black people, despite the fact that they were allegedly living in a democratic system where there were rules in place specifically to prevent that very thing. How did this happen? What does it tell us about the real nature of that system?
Okay, I'm
They
sure y'all
don't
can.
give. They don't give a fuck, bro. They do that shit. They do it all the time. Like they do it in the Chaka, you know this shit. Pat, you lived around Houston. They do this shit in certain neighborhoods around the outskirts of Houston. They raise you can afford to pay your house payment, but you can't afford the taxes every year. And they do that to keep a certain demographic out. This was all a part of way of them to gentrify these neighborhoods because these white folks want it back in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Because it was blacks and whites in these neighborhoods. The blacks started flooding Detroit when you had Ford Motor Company, Chevrolet, all of the big car manufacturers there, and they moved out and now they want back in. You see that, and then on
Well,
top of that, the shit with the Democrat, like that don't even matter.
but
Because
in
we
the
all know
night,
the Democratic Party do not give a fuck about nobody.
A lot of
you,
those black
we
people
got
were fleeing the South too after Reconstruction and Jim Crow.
well, we're talking about because I mean that was just another way of looking. I mean, for me, that's just another way of looking at how slavery played out because they wanted black people to do jobs that they didn't really want to do in the car industry, so they actually promoted that. Hey, get out of the South. You know what I'm saying? This is the like get a chance to get a taste of what America really is. And they got sold that whole American dream thing, and they came out, they had all, they got them pretty much hooked on a new way of life, and then they took all the jobs and sold it to other countries. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? So
That's
it
just
was
like all
like
your river cities.
one of the biggest setups that I think ever happened. And Gary, Indiana still sees it, but like and plus other places. But to me, it's just like really the way all of that stuff happened is conspired, and I think it's just something that's like just like what they're doing right now. With all of this stuff that we're going on, like it's something that they planned and it's working. But
Yep.
we have to take more responsibility because that stuff with the taxes, we supposed to know our laws. We're supposed to know what we're subject to and what they can and can't do because otherwise, who's else going to enforce these laws if you never bring it up and say, hey, what about this law here? It says blah 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 blah, and
What
then
about all
I mean,
these black congressmen that was asking for these black folks votes in
vote.
the
Well,
Detroit? Because I remember
Yeah,
that
hey,
shit. You
yeah,
know what I'm
that's
saying?
that too.
that
But I think
that
Where was
Pat's
all these
comment
black attorneys?
is what's really important though. You need to be educated. You need to know about this stuff. This is what gentrification is and what people don't really understand. So, but if they knew about what was happening and that this shit that they're doing to them is actually illegal, then but they're not aware. And then I wanted to talk about this a bit too. The defeatist attitude that a lot of black people have. That I'm a victim ass attitude. Like they're just gonna fuck over me no matter where I go or whatever the fuck. Like
yeah,
you
they're
know,
not gonna let me. They're not gonna let me prosper. They're not gonna, dude. It ain't up to them on whether you prosper. Like if you claim to have a God, believe me, He gives you everything that you need. It's just whether you utilize it or not.
Bro, if you show these people that you willing to stand on who you are, like that's the thing, bro. And I think I ain't gonna say I know I've heard Pat say this shit. I know I heard Chaka say like you gotta stand for something. And trust like I work around like I'm literally one of the only black guys. Well, we got another black dude now that work like if you stand on who you are and you don't bend who you are or fold or conform to their little fucking jokes and shit like that and you check them on they bullshit like bro when they see that these white folks don't fuck with you dude
Yeah,
like
right.
and they
I
don't
was
fuck
gonna.
with you
Let me tell
like
you, in a restaurant, this I've been working in a restaurant for years.
and they like the cooks and shit, like they automatically don't respect you. Now, for you to get respect, guess what you got to do?
You gotta check a motherfucker.
You got to cuss somebody the fuck out. You got to let them know you ain't finna put up with their bullshit. And then the moment you do that, they respect you, and they like you. It's weird.
I was like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I say I can respect him. Like that's the whole thing. Like, if you sit there, because I mean that's one like it's a test. Like every day is a test, and especially when you go somewhere new, it's like okay, because I've been in those situations. I've worked in restaurants and all that kind of stuff, so I mean I know what it's like. So I mean, it's just like they definitely trying to see what type of dude you are, whether they want to, befriend you, if they're gonna make things easy for you, or make things hard for you while you're there, or if they even want you to be there.
Right, because they could make you not be there because it'll look like you making a bunch of mistakes or whatever the hell. It's because they're gonna be like, this guy keeps fucking up or whatever. But it'll be like, because it's like that in everywhere. People like
But
in
they do that
streets.
shit to the sellout black dude. They do that to the kiss ass that want to go out and have drinks with them. Like, nah, fuck y'all. Say, bro. Yeah, I'm not going to no restaurant with y'all. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not like, yeah, wasn't y'all the same motherfuckers that was just sitting in here in this break room talking about the southern borders and Mexicans, and now y'all want to go eat at it? I'm not going with y'all. I ain't like, what the fuck you got me fucked up. And when you check them in that way, bro, like literally, it's like, oh man, say, bro, you are who you are. I appreciate you for putting yourself out there. Now I know. Cause I don't. That's one thing I don't like. I don't like a in the closet motherfucker. I'd rather
Exactly.
know that you don't fuck with me.
Now we understand each other. Now we know where we stand.
Yeah, because one of them motherfuckers that always, oh man, hey, I don't need you in my face like that. I just need to know who you are. Once you let me know who you are, I can respect you. You can respect me. We can move about. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta like me, but while we here, you gonna respect me. I'm gonna respect you. You know what I'm saying?
And I be thinking, like, if a race war pop out, or like a race war pops off, then you know who's gonna be popping at you too.
Yeah.
you know who to use for duck practice.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is, bro, is that when you check them motherfuckers that's like that, if something like that were to pop off, you would be surprised. They would be the ones that would actually be in your corner because of the
Probably.
fact that they have the respect. They know, like, okay,
Yep.
this motherfucker hit. But if you some sucker ass black dude that's conforming and sucking a dick,
I'm the
and
one that's
laughing at
liable.
all they joke.
I'm liable to knock them off.
Exactly, like for real, bro.
Me too.
You know?
Knock the motherfucker off real quick. No question. And I feel good all night.
Because y'all know the story of what's his name? It was the race. They call it a race riot, but it was like it was an insurrection. It was a what the hell was the guy's name? It doesn't matter. He said, "All right, you guys, who's willing to do whatever it takes, to get free? You know what I'm saying? Step forward." And some people stepped forward and some didn't. And he said, okay, first order of business, take care of every last one of them that didn't step forward. It's their liability. That's a true story. And that really happened. Because he said these people with this doubt, they're going to be the first ones if they're not willing to, yes, and they're a liability. They're going to fucking hinder us accomplishing what we trying to accomplish. They are our worst enemies.
Think about it. If all four of us right now was in a slave encampment, and we're conspiring to get out of here, and you got one motherfucker, one of us four, like, no, I don't know about that, master. If master and them get a hold of you, you want to go and get rid of that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because he gonna tell master your whole, look, that CNN gonna have your whole memoir, nigga. Like, look, his whole manifesto. This was how he was gonna do it. Like, you gotta get rid of him.
He gotta go.
He gotta go. But man, back to the topic of what they doing, right, or what they did in Detroit, man. We gotta also look at, and I call them river cities. You know, and when I say river cities, I'm talking about like you got the city of Houston or port cities. City of Houston, you got Memphis, Tennessee, you
The
got St.
background
Louis,
noise.
you got St. Louis. So let's say we got Houston, Memphis, Tennessee, St. Louis, and it's one more that I'm missing. I can't ever get this one. But you think about all of these cities, bro, where you had forklift operators, machinists, you had skilled laborers, you know, you look at those cities and look at how they look now. Like I literally go to Memphis, Tennessee every week, off of off of Danny Thomas Road, the founder of Wendy's. He's the one
Memphis,
that sh-
yeah.
yeah, that Shriner whole deal. You go down through that neighborhood, there's a chemical plant that I deliver hydrogen to. But you go down through there and it's like you got white people that live literally in the hood. Like it's all white folks right here. But you think about these cities and these were you know what I'm saying? Like it's just so you think about that shit and look at how all of the black folks are displaced.
They own too.
I can't hear you. I can't make
Yeah,
out what you're
we
saying.
can't understand anything
They
you're saying.
own too.
We can't
Round
understand anything you say. I don't know. Maybe Chaka can, but I we can't.
something about
I
round
want.
two. But look, I want to jump on what Deuce was saying because the freaking history of these cities were black cities throughout history, and I think that that's another part that causes a lot of confusion because like if when we talk about like the old Egypt or the Nile or whatever, Mississippi River,
Well,
you talk about the the Aboriginal
this
peoples.
was a black country. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but especially through there, because that's the trade. Um, even before, because see, it wasn't spread out, it's different peoples. It's even historically there has been like different groups of peoples, right? So, but you had these river peoples, basically, is what you would call them, like kind of what Deuce is saying. These are black people, you know what I'm saying, for the most part. That even throughout all the way back through history. So, and then what you're saying about these now, it's like these cities are where you go for prostitution and drugs and right shit like that. Like it's I can't find the
I
words.
no. I think most of us are following. We just go
Yeah,
get on to the yeah. Get to the
what
meat of it.
what I'm trying to say is that this is one of the things that has happened over time. You know what I mean? Them switching the kings and queens and turning them into crackheads. Like, but then it's not even a real thing. It's more of a perception because the people really hasn't changed that much. It's more of like the way people see them. You know what I'm saying?
How everybody else sees them, and I mean, well, even themselves. I mean, they don't even see them. A lot of us don't even see ourselves with the value that we really have, and like you know, I think that that narrative is changing a lot, but at the same time, it's still we got a lot of work to do. But to me, it's like they have, you know, but I've been saying that I guess most of the show is that like all these things were purposely done, and the quicker we realize that, and then we begin to change the narratives ourselves, because I mean the only way that true justice for any people on this land will happen is when we take control. Like
I want to.
any other way, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I can't disagree with none of that you just said. I want to play some more of this. She's going to talk about the social contract and explaining what it is. And the philosophy of it is really freaking interesting because it's like she's saying that when you were born, well, she's gonna explain it, but it's like when you were born, you subscribe to the social contract that you didn't even ask to be a part of. But it's like you sign up by default when you take advantage of the amenities that are offered to you in
Or or you have a job that you keep keep coming up incomplete. Like, I mean, you end up, you sign up for a job that you're not completing. You're supposed to be bringing justice back to the earth. Like, you're supposed to be doing more things than what you're doing. That's how
So
I look at it. I mean, I look at it like, yeah, you're born into this thing, but it's a job. Like, if you don't have something to
you
work
gotta do
for, or
work.
yeah,
You
like, I
gotta do
mean,
work. Let me play this.
What has happened to the social contract? To answer that, we're going to learn what the social contract is, what its weaknesses are, and then what's happening to it today. If you enjoyed tonight's performance, you can sign up at patreon.com/philosophy. Here's the deal. The social contract is an idea that's turned up in various philosophers' works over the last 350 years. If I explain all of them in detail, we'll be here till Armageddon. As a demon, I have forever, but as a lawyer, I charge by the hour. So let me give you the broad strokes. We live, it has been said, in a society. How did that happen? Well, philosophers who subscribe to this social contract idea like to imagine a time before society existed, when there were no rules or laws yet. They call it the state of nature. What exactly the state of nature was like depends on who you read. The English philosopher Thomas Hobbes said that it was pretty hellish. Life in the state of nature was solitary, nasty, poor, brutish, and short, a war of all against all.
The state of nature. That's how he's describing it. But see, they're talking about a philosophy, an idea of the things before there was a structured like society. But still, you talk about nature and you talk about it that way. That's kind of painful.
well, I mean, there's not many times in our past that there was not some form of structure. It's just that when we have people to come in and want to take control, they have to act as if something is wrong with that. 'Cause I mean,
You
I'm gonna say that there was a lot of things wrong when we were in power the last time, and that's one of the reasons why we lost where we were. But at the same time, it was things that we probably really could fix and it not have to come to this point. But because we're
this is
not
all
willing,
this is all our fault. I always say that.
yeah.
And you touched on what it's gonna take her half the video to explain it, but you touched on what she's gonna say is because they after the fact are gonna be like that was bad. So you have to have we need to rule you so that it won't be bad no more. Basically.
Yeah.
Later philosophers, like Frenchman Jean-Jacques Rousseau, said it might not have been so bad because humans have a natural tendency towards compassion. John Locke, another name we'll be hearing a lot, said that there were still some rules, some morality placed in humans by God. Bottom line, the state of nature was whatever came naturally to human beings, which could have been a lot of things. Society is everything that got built on top. In the state of nature, people had some freedoms that they don't have now. For instance, if somebody steals your stuff in the state of nature, you can go and clobber them. You can't do that now. There's a justice system that's supposed to handle it, unless you live in Detroit. But because the state of nature has some downsides, like anybody can clobber you and it's hard to get stuff done, people came together and agreed to live in a society. That agreement is called the social contract. This is a very important detail, so it's worth making sure that you get it. The idea is that humanity's natural state is freedom, that nobody is born having political authority over anybody else. One of Rousseau's most famous lines was, "Man is born free and everywhere he is in chains." The first 4 words there are, man is born free. That's going to be important in a moment. The outcome of the social contract, though, is that people gave up some of their natural freedoms in exchange for the benefits of living in a society. Like, okay, you can't clobber anyone who takes your stuff anymore, but on the flip side, you get a justice system and medicine and opera and mobile phones and pork pies and all the other things that humans enjoy. In particular, John Locke said one of the great things you get out of the social contract is your private property gets secured. Again, unless you live in Detroit. There are a few things hidden in the fine print here that depend on who you read, like who made this agreement. Hobbes said it was individuals. Locke and Rousseau said it was families. And what exactly did they agree on? Some writers say the social contract created the rules of morality, or governments, or laws, or specific institutions. There was a modern philosopher called John Rawls who had his own version, but we're not going to worry about him for today. So that's the basic idea. You've got your three main ingredients: the state of nature, where everyone's naturally free, the people who came together, and the agreement they made to limit their freedom in exchange for civilization. Now, you're very clever, so you've probably already realized that that's a load of bollocks. That never happened. That's completely made up. And yes, people have been saying that since the beginning. Here's Scottish philosopher David Hume writing in 1752.
Were you to preach in most parts of the world that political connections are founded altogether on voluntary consent or a mutual promise, the magistrate would soon imprison you as seditious for loosening the ties of obedience. If your friends did not before shut you up as delirious for advancing such absurdities, almost all the governments which exist at present, or of which there remains any record in story, have been founded originally either on usurpation or conquest or both.
In fact,
yeah. So like basically that philosophy and what the guy was saying was that, you know, all societies started off of, you know, being, you know, subjugated, people being subjugated and forced into this society. People don't get to choose. Let me play some more.
even if that whole story about the state of nature was true, so what? If your ancestors agreed to live in a society, what does it have to do with you? When you were born, was there somebody there from the government going, "Do you accept the terms and conditions?" No.
No.
Some philosophers, like Rousseau, tried to get around this by saying that if you enjoy the benefits of society, you implicitly agree to live by its rules. Like you might not have signed a literal contract, but by continuing to enjoy video games and hummus, you do sign an invisible one. And if you don't like it, there's the door. But again, Hume says that's bollocks.
Can we seriously say that a poor peasant or artisan has a free choice to leave his country when he knows no foreign language or manners and lives from day to day by the small wages which he acquires? We may as well assert that a man, by remaining in a vessel, freely consents to the dominion of the master, though he was carried on board while asleep and must leap into the ocean and perish the moment he leaves her.
Agree.
So what do y'all think?
Well, I mean, really, a lot of it is so true. I mean, it's just, but you know what is, you know, this leads me back to the other options that we have. You know, I'm not a part of the. I don't have to have the same rules. I mean, because I do have the same rules, but I mean, most of them are still really rules that is you know natural based on natural law, you know, but them being having, you know, me being actually being subject to some of those things can change, you know, or you know, aren't totally the same as like the regular citizen. So that's where it kind of takes me to, is like trying to, you know, let people know that you have options. It's just that you got to learn what they are. You can't just sit back and cry and talk shit about everything that's wrong if you're not willing to try to do something.
It kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about education when we was talking about gentrification and fighting for your house and shit. Because if they're doing some shit illegal, you definitely got fucking something to stand on.
Agreement is not how society was formed, and it's clearly not how society works now. However, that's not the point. It's not meant to be an accurate historical story. Social contract theory is meant to give us a nice test to evaluate the societies we do live in. We can look at a government or an institution or even a specific piece of legislation and ask ourselves, is this the sort of thing that free, equal people would agree to live under? And if the answer to that is no, then we have good reason to reject it. With that in mind, you can maybe see how, from one perspective, this was kind of a radical idea at the time. Human beings are born free and equal, and governments are only legitimate if you agree to them. That kind of talk could spark a revolution.
Well,
Pause.
look. This I want to say this because, I think Trump did have a lot to do with those people coming together and doing what they did. But at the same time, it wasn't him alone. It's like the world that we've been living in, the way that our government has changed that made these people say, "I didn't sign up for this." You know what I'm saying? Like this is not a part of what I agreed to, or really any of us really agreed to, and there was people that was willing to fight for what what they do believe in. So I don't. I guess I'm one of those that hey, you can say whatever you want. That if the government is not just and doing we're supposed to do something about it. Going to kill people, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. But I mean, something has to happen.
And it's in the Constitution, and I think that's what drives a lot of that.
Yeah.
The
That's why a lot of people are not getting on
Hey, America was created. America was built on gangsters.
I agree
Can
with
you guys
that.
hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, not very good, but I understood you. He said America was built on gangsters.
America was built on gangsters, and you wonder why our culture, the way we treat each other, is the same way. Our young brothers, they want to get ahead. They want money. They want a business. They want this and that. But that won't happen until we come together. Until you figure out how to grow your own food, and you get into I would say like industrialism, guns, germs, and steel. We have to support one another, and if we're not going to do that, if we don't have an army, we're not going to get ahead.
Guns, germs, and steel. And yeah, so what you're saying is I agree with you as far as like as individuals, we have to be strong enough to be able to come together because we build together, right? You know what I'm saying? If you aren't strong as an individual, if you can't pull any weight, then the group is not gonna. You're not gonna have no use to the group. You know what I'm saying? So everybody got to bring something to the table, and then be able to work together to build something. Because you can't build something with people who aren't able to even handle their own little, private situations. Like they can't carry their own self, then they're not going to be able to work with us.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, there's people who are fighting in their very own homes. You know what I'm saying? Like husband and wife. I mean, a lot of times, like there's so much going on for some of these people that, like I don't even consider having a conversation like that with them because there's
It's a lot of single mothers.
yeah, but I mean, I think that there's enough of us out there that can come together. It's just really being able to find those who will, and that's I mean, legit. Because like I said, I mean, there's so many things that's happening to all of us as a people, and regardless of our political positions, in most cases, like it's based on our situations why we see something different. You know what I'm saying? I was having this discussion with my mom and her friend the other day, was that like most people, whether they're Democratic or Republican, they see things differently just because of their personal situation. Some people, I think it is because that's what they was raised to be, this, that, and the other. But because of whatever benefits that one party, you know, offers, because they don't necessarily supply it, they will at least throw it up there. This is what I'll do, blah 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 blah. Depending if you need that enough, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I want this person. I'm gonna vote for this party because this is what they're offering and blah blah blah, whatever. And the other one is gonna say, hey, I don't need that. I don't really want to pay for that. So, I'm gonna vote for this because I prefer this or whatever. So we're really not any different in how we really make our decisions. Is really based on our situations on why we decide the way we do. But I think we're more alike than we are different. It's just that people have to really, not be so afraid to step out and you just gotta. Shoot, you're risking losing everything right now.
I want to play some more. She made some good jokes in here. I'm really looking for them, but hold on, let me see.
19th century philosopher Robert Filmer said people aren't born free and equal. That's ridiculous. Children aren't born equal to their parents. The father naturally has authority. And in the same way, the king naturally has authority over his people. To say that they're born equal is borderline treason. Filmer was very into the idea of dads having power. He wrote a book about his ideas that was literally called Patriarchy. If this were 2019 YouTube, I'd make a joke like, step on me, daddy. But I think culturally we're past that now. Social contract theory says that governments should be established by agreement, not force or religion. And that is also a revolutionary idea. There's a bit of a battle for the human soul going on here. Because according to Rousseau, again, human beings can come together and agree and make progress. Government can set people free to do that if it's arranged in the right way. But some of Rousseau's contemporaries said, no, you've forgotten about sin. Humans are inherently wicked. They have a tendency towards evil. The job of government is to keep a lid on that. It should be run by people who know what purity and faith is, not set everyone free to indulge their sinful desires. And this battle continues to this day. There are still people who say, no, the right to govern does not come from the people, at least not ultimately. It comes from God.
God. And there goes religion, and there goes that's what's crazy about the monarchy. It always, these people or their lineage was by God.
She sounds like the statement that I was understanding when I was learning occultism. She's basically like, okay, well, being fucking stupid is completely out of the question, and being stupid is what people are gonna do. That's what they do.
Well, yeah. Well, they're talking about the philosophy.
She went ham real quick. She explained exactly what she wanted to. The story of whatever, and she got right to the point. She didn't waste no time.
Yeah, I really like the way the name of this channel. Hold on. The name of this channel is Philosophy Tube, and I really think it's a great channel because she's
this is the same lady that does the different dressing up, like she
Right.
cosplays most of these.
Right. She's doing it right now. And this one, you can't really tell. She's got the wings on and she looks like she's at the beginning, I skipped it, but she was explaining that her character was she's a lawyer for the devil, I want to say. So that's her cosplay right now.
Okay, because I remember hearing her say something about being the lawyer, and when I'm a lawyer, I charge by the hour. So let me get to it, like I'm not getting paid for this. It's pretty much.
Yeah, it's so nice how she attacks all of the freaking like everything she turns it all on the head. I love it.
Yeah.
And so, on behalf of God, we will take control of society, whether people agree or not. Whether it's Christian nationalists in the USA trying to overturn elections, or the Taliban and ISIS, this philosophical issue is not ancient history. It's happening right now. Speaking of history, though, here's some context that might help ground all this abstract theory. Robert Filmer and Thomas Hobbes both lived through the English Civil War, a very bloody and bitter conflict between the forces of King Charles I and Parliament that was very much about this question: who has the right to govern? Filmer was on the king's side, which turned out to be a bad decision because in 1649, Charles I had his head cut off. When a British monarch dies, that's when the English are at their most dangerous, because suddenly anything is possible. A dude named Oliver Cromwell takes over and decides to murder everyone in Ireland. Some random guy named Gerard Winstanley invents communism on a hill. They banned Christmas for a while. It was a busy time for me. But 11 years later, everyone calms down a little bit. Cromwell's dead now, so Charles's son, Charles, becomes King Charles II. Now, one thing you need to know is that everyone in England at this time hates Catholics. Don't like them. Why are you having your religious services in Latin? Speak English, like Jesus did.
Like Jesus.
Anti-Catholic suspicion is rife. Senator McCarthy has a list of Catholics in government. There's debate about whether Catholics should be allowed in women's toilets. The police are stopping people in the streets like, is that incense? And they're going, no, it's weed, I swear. So everything is already really normal. And then in 1685, Charles II dies as well, leaving no legitimate heir. He does have a very special illegitimate daughter, but she doesn't count. So his younger brother James becomes King James II. And there's an immediate problem because James is Catholic. But wait, it's okay. His daughter, Mary, who is next in line for the throne, is Protestant. So it's all fine. It's going to be okay. Unless he has a son. Oh, he just had a son. And oh, the son is Catholic. Time for England to become even more normal. Okay, what if the prince of a completely different country came over and we just made him the king instead? So they did that. In 1688, William of Orange, who was Prince of the Netherlands, came over and kicked James off the throne in the Glorious Revolution, thus ending the reign of the Stuart royal family. Which is why the descendants of Charles's illegitimate daughter are making YouTube videos now instead of living in Buckingham Palace. I could have been a princess, but no, my great uncle James just had to be a Catholic. And this is the context in which John Locke publishes his famous books, the two treatises of government. The first book, which hardly anybody reads now, is a sentence-by-sentence refutation of Robert Filmer, Love the Pettiness. The second one, the really famous one, contains all of Locke's arguments about how governments should be formed by people agreeing. Locke supported the Glorious Revolution. He thought that James's failures as a king meant that he had reneged on the social contract, so the people had the right to take up arms and remove him. And it had a big impact. Less than a century later, across the Atlantic, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and a lot of my most famous clients read John Locke, and they were like, whoa, this guy's based. We should do a revolution. We should get rid of King George. And then sing a musical about it. Alexander Hamilton! I tell the story of this context partly because it's interesting, and partly so you understand this philosophy did not come from nowhere. It was written in a particular time and a particular place, and it bears the marks of its origin. And that is going to be very important now.
So what you think?
Well, I think law is very interesting, and the more I learn about it, the more I realize like how just it really is. It's just a matter of how, the willingness to use it, or the ability to use it. Because, this is like, the social contract. Like, your parents here, they, accept it, they like it, they love it, whatever. You as a kid, you come in, you kind of just, you get kind of taught to do certain things, but you may not necessarily agree with it the same way. You may not agree with it the same way that your parents do. So when you become 18, you do have the right to make some differences, or whenever it is that you come to an understanding that you don't like it that way. Um, so as a minor, you just kind of got to go along with, to get along. But when you become an adult, uh, I don't know. I think that a lot of this stuff is really, you know, and I love the way she presents this stuff because I mean she keeps talking about the whole Detroit thing, which is a lot of black people have been getting picked on when historically we were the ones who understood the laws. We were the one who created most of these laws and in our other lives. You know what I'm saying? Like our ancestors, or however you want to look at it, our ancestors that led us here created most of these laws that they call white people's laws. And they've pretty much just adapted what we've already had or what was already existing. So it's just a matter of you taking it upon yourself to make it yours again.
I want to play just a little bit more. I'm not going to stay on much longer, but she talks about the feminist perspective on this, which I think is interesting too. It's really great. It's really great. I'm not going to play all of this though, but some of the feminist perspective on basically it's on the we're still talking about the social contract. So she talked about, the philosophy and explaining what it was. Now she's gonna explain like the feminist rebuttal to it.
Okay.
Damn it. I'm gonna get in trouble.
This book is The Sexual Contract by Carol Pateman. It's a classic of second wave feminism from 1988. Pateman studied social contract theory, and she has a few notes. In this section of the video, I'd like to take a detailed look at her work. You may not agree with everything she says. I certainly don't, but it will be provocative. Pateman's general thesis is that the story of the social contract, this supposedly radical idea about free people agreeing, is first of all a lie, but secondly, it hides the truth about how society really operates. In particular, as a feminist, she focuses on the ways in which what happens to women gets buried in the fine print. She says there's the official social contract, and then underneath, there's a second sexual contract. The hidden rules which give men, the male sex, political control over women, the female sex. This idea of there being a second hidden contract has been really influential in the last 40 years of philosophy, especially in critical race theory, as we'll see later on. Remember the state of nature, the idea we talked about earlier? It's whatever comes naturally to human beings, and society is everything built on top. Well, Pateman points out that a lot of the classic theorists made some pretty big and pretty political assumptions about the nature of women, like a lot of men did back then. John Locke said that women are natural subjects. We're born to do what we're told. Rousseau said that we can't be rational and objective like men are because we're too bimbo brained. Even though the state of nature is supposed to be before society, there's some cross-contamination going on here. According to the classic theorists, the social contract is something that men do. Men agree to make society. Women can't. That's just our nature. So we get to live in it. Specifically, we get to inhabit the roles that we are naturally suited for, according to men. We get to be their wives and their mothers. And that's a crucial detail. Pateman says this wasn't an accidental oversight. These philosophers didn't just forget that women existed. The reason we're not at the table is because we're what's on the menu. Part of society's job, she says, is to regulate men's access to our bodies for sex and reproduction. Every man is endowed by his creator with an inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of pussy. The hidden rule, the sexual contract, is that women exist for men. And, she continues, if you assume that women exist for men, that we're naturally suited only for the domestic world, not the political one, then marriage is the legal embodiment of that assumption. Think of things like women being given away by our fathers at a wedding, taking our husband's last name, promising to obey, women not being allowed to own property when they're married, husbands being legally allowed to rape and beat their wives. Pateman says the institution of marriage is clearly designed to express and reinforce the assumption that women are secondary. Now, you might want to say, hang on a minute. Husbands used to be able to do all that stuff, but marriage has been reformed. It's no longer legal to beat your wife, for instance. So is it still inherently patriarchal? Pateman says, yes. If you strip out all the patriarchal stuff, it wouldn't be marriage anymore. It'd just be a contract for sexual exclusivity or cohabitation or whatever. She says marriage would be obsolete without patriarchy. But again, you might want to come back and say some women choose to get married. Some of us want to be actress/YouTuber girl bosses taking over the world, but some of us want to be trad wives and stay at home with the apron and the red lip and the thigh highs and the cat ears. That's what makes some women happy. So is it still patriarchal if you do it voluntarily? This question, is it empowering if you do it voluntarily, is something that women have been asking ourselves for decades about all sorts of things.
So the marriage comment she made was really interesting. What do you think about that?
Personally, I'm like, it's insane for people to think that that's just a patriarchal thing, because I mean, if it was really up to men for the most part, especially this day and age, like, shoot, a verbal agreement is good. Because
but the contract itself, when it's on paper, it y'all assets go together. I think that's a really good point. I think I never really liked that going to court and the whole idea of that, getting the people involved in because marriage should be a personal thing, right? I mean, why does the government or whoever got to have anything to do with that shit, unless it has to do with this, the way the system is set up, this patriarchal system.
Well, I mean, I think like the question of, whether or not it's a patriarchal thing for marriage, like otherwise, because I mean, if it is, I mean, men are not the ones that's having daydreams about getting married, or, it's like it's mostly women that has these, ideas of, because I mean, marriage, I guess really you're looking at one thing is marriage is one thing, but a wedding is, I guess, the more thing that they look at, because, I guess it's debatable, especially this day and time, on women really believing in marriage. I think a lot of them want the wedding, but
well, why come we can't just have a wedding without getting the damn government involved? Can we do that?
That part,
I think it wouldn't be a problem. I think she can have her wedding and we can not have the government involved.
Well, I mean, that's what it was. I mean, before, these contracts, because I mean, marriage was, I mean, in the beginning, just the fact that you had sex with a person, y'all were together, y'all married, you know what I'm saying? Like,
because that's what it really is, the real definition of it, because it's like mixing of.
look, I'm gonna tell you, like when I was in the restaurant business, my manager would say, "Hey, marry those two orange like that. You got a sleeve, put them together. You know what I'm saying? Go on and put this together, blah, blah, whatever. That's That's what it was. I mean, it wasn't like, I mean, the legal idea. I mean, it's become that because that's what most of all, all our lives. This is what we've known. But
I'm a just play a bit of her talking about Detroit a bit, and then I'm gonna wrap her video, and we're gonna wrap it.
because I challenge most people to even anybody that thinks I'm lying what I just said, because when it comes down to it, before the 1800s, there was no legal portion of marriage.
Right, and like you said, you marry the wine or whatever, and that's what you do when you have sex. It's a marriage.
Yeah. So what did
And
people
so,
do? And my question is, what did people do before that?
yeah, exactly. And what makes the contract? It's a contract that y'all are making with each other, and what gives it value is that y'all both agree on it
Agree
and
to it.
respect it.
Yeah.
And so you don't need nobody else involved in that at all. And it's
And
still like that. It's
both
still like that
parties.
with the piece of paper. When you get the piece of paper, it don't really mean nothing unless both parties are agreeing to this.
Well,
anyways.
Well, my thing is that in most cases, both parties has some issue with the agreement, and they end up doing it anyway, just because. Okay, well, in order to for the portion that they do agree to happen, they gotta allow that other part that they don't agree with. Like, I mean, I guess I believe in, having your own vows. Y'all agree to what your marriage is going to be, over, just what's supposed, what people believe is just supposed to be. So I don't know, man.
I'm gonna play her talk about critical race theory a second, and then we're gonna wrap it.
We now have everything we need to return to Detroit and think about what happened there. You'll remember that in 2009, the local government illegally raised property taxes and started evicting people from their homes when they couldn't pay, effectively stealing houses from
You
people who
starting
were
it over?
disproportionately poor
No,
and
she's-
black. In
she's
2014, they did
wrapping
something
it.
similar with water
Okay.
prices, jacking the prices up suddenly and disconnecting anyone who couldn't pay. This happened despite the fact there were laws in place that were supposed to stop it. So how come? In 1997, the philosopher Charles Mills wrote a book called The Racial Contract, inspired by Pateman. Remember her idea that women were left out of the social contract, not just as an oversight, but because we were seen as naturally fit for exploitation? Mills says the classic theorists did the exact same thing with people of color. John Locke is a great example. Remember the idea of the state of nature? It's whatever comes naturally to human beings, and society is everything that's built on top? Well, Locke claimed, falsely, that indigenous Americans had no society and no politics and no concept of property before colonization, and therefore it was okay to take their land because they're just living in the state of nature. America is a blank canvas, a new world. So by all means, just move in. The people living there, well, they're kind of like animals. You shouldn't be cruel to them, but fundamentally, they and their resources exist for white people in the same way that women exist for men. Just like Pateman said, the reason they weren't at the table was because they were on the menu. And the same thing happened in Detroit. The residents had very little say in what was happening to them or the economic conditions that caused it. Detroit had been declining financially for years because the automotive industry moved overseas and white people fled for the suburbs, which shrank the tax base, so the city had to make cuts. Then they went bankrupt in 2013. The guy who was appointed as emergency financial manager wasn't elected. He wasn't accountable to anybody. He was the one who just decided to shut everybody's water off. Clearly, this was not a system in which people came together and agreed what to do. They were not at the table, but they were on the menu. The idea behind the water shutoffs was to make it easier to sell the city's public water utility to private investors. The homes that got foreclosed on were sold at auction, which profited Wayne County. Many of them were bought by private investors again, who started demanding that their rightful owners pay rent. In hell, we wish we thought of that. In this way, we can see that the racial contract has an economic side to it. Scholar Bernadette Atuahene coins the term predatory cities. Cities that, when they can't pay their bills, start sucking the blood out of their own people. For example, say you're one of the people whose taxes got illegally raised. Well, you could file a complaint with the city about it. But the complaints department has been cut so much that it's now one woman named Linda, and Linda has 15,000 cases. You could scrape the money together somehow and pay it, but you'll have to take a day off work and go across town and queue for 5 hours to pay it in person because there's no online billing. At a certain point, the system becomes a lot better at hurting you than it does at helping you. And when that happens, it's people who are already vulnerable who get hit the hardest. And the racial contract also has a mental side. The technical philosophy word here is epistemological. Epistemology is the study of knowledge. For example, remember that guy in the park who came up to me? He probably thought that he was just being nice. Because part of what the sexual contract does is it blocks men from realizing what they're really doing. If I had said to him, "Can I help you with something? Why are you interrupting me?" He probably would have thought that I was the one who was being rude. Because as a woman, my desire for privacy and security was not just secondary, but almost unintelligible in the face of his desire to control my time and attention. In the same way, Mills says that the racial contract can block white people from realizing what's really happening. In Detroit, even after the evidence came out that what was happening was illegal and racist, city officials kept saying, "But just pay your bills." Like they were so invested in the story of the social contract, they couldn't see the truth. The residents' desire for justice and fairness was almost unintelligible in the face of the city's desire to control their property and their resources.
The federal courts, along with state and local government, assume the existence of a valid and enforceable contract between Black Detroiters and the city of Detroit, undergirded and protected by civil rights law. However, this contract is a fiction, impossible under the current socio-legal order. Despite formal guarantees to the contrary, we had no right to expect due process, responsive or competent government, dignity, decency, or the basic ability to sustain our lives through the consumption of water.
Now,
final comments.
Man, say, bro, that's a heavy load right there, bro. Like I mean, I love this woman, bro. Like I like how she really lays it out there, because it's like, and I need you to send me that link.
Okay, I'll send it through the group.
Yeah, but bro, I mean, it's really nothing else to say. I think she's really.
She did. She covered it well. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to wrap it, man. I'm tired.
I hear you, bro. I got some work to do in the morning whenever I get up. So
Yeah, I feel you. I'm sitting here at the crib. I need to get my ass in there. I need to enjoy as much of this bed I can, because I'm going to be leaving in a day or so.
Yeah, I'm off tomorrow. I want to spend some time with Kenzie and shit, so I don't want to be too tired.
Yeah, y'all know I'm still off. Like I'm almost a forced vacation.
I didn't know that. I thought you were working, bro.
No, I'm I'm chilling in Louisiana.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
Yeah,
That's
man.
Truck down.
No, truck's fine. I'm I'm still dealing with the issue with my tooth. Like they wouldn't do a root canal, and because I guess it went too far. My dentist is going to extract, and I guess we'll do some other things to fill in that gap. But you know, just trying to get the rest of that infection out so that they can pull it without any other issues.
I got you.
So I've just been chilling. I just like, you know, it don't make sense for me to go out again, and you know, like I'm just gonna chill, let it, you know, spend some time, because I this is much needed time, and I'm trying to complete stuff with this this new adventure. Um, but that's a wrap, and I see my boy Chaka is rubbing his eyes and trying to
I'm
keep
struggling
it
over
together.
here.
So I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it at that.
All right, y'all. Peace and love. I'll be back tomorrow. And
Most def.
all right, y'all.
Most definitely, bro. Y'all take it easy, man. I'm finna lay my butt down myself.
All right,
Peace
man.
and
Stay
love.
up.
For sure.
Peace.